Right, Coogan, fire away. Fire away.
Where's Tommy?
I'm fucking here. Now what you got to say for yourself? Speak.
What? Alright,
Let's
talk about...
Come on then, spit it out. Come on. I'm not going tonight. Come on.
What's your fucking joke about first?
What? What are you saying?
What's your fucking joke about first?
My joke about Brian, it was a joke, yeah. What the fuck's it got to do with you anyway?
What do you mean what's he got to do with me anyway?
What the fuck's it got to do with you? What I fucking post on Twitter?
You put it on fucking social media.
The fucking
everyone, innit?
Do you even fucking follow me?
If you put it on social media, it's to do with everyone, isn't it?
Do you follow me on Twitter then? What the fuck's it to do with you? What I fucking post, man? The people that know me, the people that follow me know it was a joke. Brian knows it was a joke. Brian knew about it. So shut your fucking mouth, mate. It's fucking nothing to do. This is go fuck all to do with you. I'd fuck all
you're Do you know, Tommy, listen, let me tell you something. Do you know when I met you in Glasgow, which I don't remember?
Right, you came up to me and says you're a big lad and you felt my muscles, aye.
Right, so when I come up to you, what did I say to you? What did you say to me? Were you sucking my prick then?
No, mate, I was talking to James and you came here and spoke to us. See James, the credible one on iPhone London, the one I like. And you came up and you says, oh, you're a big lad and you felt my muscles, eh? You looked kind of fucking pressed or something, man.
I felt your muscles.
Ah, you felt my muscles. Mind that, Andy. Andy was here. We were in press row beside you.
Well, listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember ever doing that.
You fucking did, you big lying cunt, you. As I say, though, mate, why would you be offended with that? It was a fucking joke. People know it was a joke. Brian knew it was a joke. Brian knew about it.
Well, listen, I just commented to you that I didn't think it was very funny.
Well, that's it. Well, a lot of people comment me thinking it was very funny. I've got quite a dark sense of humour. I know a lot of people agree with it, man, but I think you overreacted a wee bit, did you know, no? Would you
not really. I didn't overreact to it. I didn't find that.
Listen, mate, I made the comment on Twitter.
I just said to you that I didn't find it funny. That was it. And then you're talking about Kogan will have his funeral soon if you don't shut up. So, was that a joke as well? That
was a fucking joke as well, mate, aye. But see, if you want to get serious about it, I'll offer you a fucking scrap so we can scrap. I like a scrap, mate. No problem at all.
No problem.
You're going to Quick Frampton.
I am going to be at Quick Frampton.
Right, mate. What we'll do is, right, we'll swap numbers and we'll sort something out. We'll go for a walk, just me and you, and we'll see who fucking walks back then, right? Alright?
Listen,
right,
not
mate.
A problem whatsoever.
What? Right then.
No problem whatsoever.
Right, exactly then. You can fuck off me then. Fuck off, go on. We'll swap numbers.
I'll be at Quick Frampton.
Is there anything else you want to say, mate? Do you think that you were going to come on the show and I was going to fucking shit my pants or something for you, mate, aye?
Not really, no.
Well, there you fucking go then. Well, you can fuck off now then. I've never met a fucking Sri Lankan that can fight, mate. You can fuck off, go on. I will fucking smash fuck out you. Not a problem at all.
Hard man, Tommy, isn't you?
Well, that's it, mate. If you want to fucking take it there, listen, mate, we can all laugh and joke on Twitter, right? I offered you a wee fucking charity boxing match, you know what I mean? We could have made
why do I want to have a charity boxing match for you?
Well, I don't know, mate. It was just, we were talking on Twitter, and I just thought I'd put that out there, so. But if you want to get serious about it, I can get serious as well, that's not a problem. I can get serious.
Hard man, Tommy. Hard man.
I'm not a hard man, mate. I'm not a fighter or that.
Right, listen, can I jump in here?
Listen, mate. Fucking hell, I'm just thinking it's a bit weird that you got fucking upset about that comment.
I didn't get upset. Listen, I never got upset about it. I just didn't find it funny.
You fucking did get upset about it, mate. You did get upset. Wait 2 minutes and I'll find your comment in 2 seconds.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to the 347th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host Steve Wellings and joining me on the call we have Adam Smido-Smith, Andy Patterson, Dave the Hater Lowerback, Ozzy Smith and Gabe Lewis as well. Rapping Rob Kelly is in tow. We're waiting for him to jump on the call very soon. We're just talking about the guru there actually, Tommy Allen. Wouldn't it be great if Tommy would jump back on the call one of these days and surprise us all? Who knows, it might happen. No doubt we'll laud the talents of Ryan Garcia shortly and look back fondly on Anthony Crolla's farewell fight, where most of the tears came after the scorecards were read out. Also, Rob's pumped up for Miguel Berchelt. We've got a bit of Cullen versus Cash, a bit of Katie, questions, comments, Bellew of the Week's guests, and a rabid chat. Just looking at the names there, infested, the usual deviants are about. Plenty more in between. Andy, let's get on to you first of all. MGM Grand, Garden Arena. Saul Canelo Alves knocking out Sergey Kovalev. I have my suspicions around this fight, but regarding Kovalev, I thought that he fought like a caricature of people's perceptions of him. He sort of boxed behind this tentative jab for the first 6 rounds, but was he landing the meaningful shots, or was Canelo landing the meaningful shots? I think it was probably Canelo. Kovalev, he lived up to expectations. Every stereotype of his flaws pretty much played out how a lot of people thought it would. I wasn't expecting the knockout to be as brutal as that, but I thought that Kovalev would fall at some point.
Yeah, I think you called it last week, mate. I thought Canelo would have done it on points. I mean, honestly, God, I mean, to be honest, I'm shocked. Honestly, I was shocked at the ending like that. I mean, that was like the Amir Khan knockout. I mean, if he landed that one, like a Khan and that, man, Jesus, suffering. To see Kovalev, like a respected champ, go down like that, I mean, I've seen a laundry list of excuses in that for that result there last night. Now, you could say that Kovalev, he was tentative of sort. I mean, I don't know if he was very, very respectful at Canelo's counter-punching. He was kind of very wary that he could maybe kind of like really rip it to the body. I forget what round that Canelo kind of finally got distance to the body and stuff, but a lot of Kovalev's jabs and stuff, it was on gloves and stuff, but people could say that, the single shots for Canelo was probably, more flashier on the cards than that. I've got to give him credit as well at the same time, because I'm sick and tired of reading shit. I mean, I've seen something like, I don't know, more than a dozen excuses for that last night. I mean, the fight was fixed. Kovalev took a dive. I mean, Canelo was on roids. Okay, he's been done before. What else did we have? It was a cherry pick. I think that was one of them. Rehydration was another one. I mean, that isn't an excuse. If you check back Kovalev's previous rehydration history, and that, it shouldn't be a problem. Diminished goods. I don't know. Blame my gut probably as well for good measure. I don't know, man. It is as this. Some people are raging at it. I was just shocked to see Kovalev fold like that. Actually, I mean, because for me, I thought he was winning the fight on the cards. I thought I had him up by at least 2 or 3. You remember, I'm watching this at 4 o'clock in the morning, for Christ's sake. I'm not even watched it back. I'm that shocked.
You had Kovalev up a couple, did you say?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So I just thought he was boxing better, and as I say, Canelo was probably kind of like landing some flashier shots and stuff like that. But I just thought, for me, Kovalev was shading it. But I'm absolutely shocked at the ending, and that's why I've got to give Canelo his props. And that he's went up 2 weight classes. But put it this way, some people are giving him shit. And that if I had been any other boxer, gone up 2 weight classes and done that to a respected champ, I think people would be giving him props all over the world and stuff like that. They're going to be, and again, we can all go back to the drug tests and stuff. At the end of the day, how many of us believe that all the elite level guys are on the roids and that, and we want to give them the props and stuff? You got to say, after that last night, some people say he's going to fight Beterbiev and I'll give you number 1 status and that, but after that last night, he's seriously got to be considered as now pound for pound number 1 if you want to bring it in a discussion. Again, I've got to give him props and that. I'm sick of the excuses and that. I don't want to get into excuses and stuff, so I'd rather just hand it out at the other boys and that if they want to kind of rage about it and stuff, because I'm done with it. Really, I'm done with it.
Gabe, I don't know if you're going to be raging or not, but I was very impressed with Canelo. I mean, I like the fact there was no needle between the pair. Canelo, he's very hard to catch clean, isn't he, with that defence? And up at light heavyweight, his performance was certainly enhanced. All jokes aside, Gabe, he looked like a Tommy Morrison to me. Say no more about that. Men's Luxury Fitness had the same ideas. He says, Gabe, is Canelo the dirtiest elite sportsman in the world who's at the top of their discipline?
Well, I mean, it's highly likely. I don't know that you could actually watch that performance last night and knowing where he came from, starting at 154 pounds and winning titles at 54, 60, 68, and now light heavyweight. And the way that he's done it, I mean, he's had 1 loss from arguably the master of the sport for the last however many years. I mean, this is, if you didn't recognize it before, this is a tremendous fighter. He hasn't always been where he's at now. You've seen him, if you've watched his whole career, work its way to the point where he is now, where he has that defense going really well. He's got a good offense. He's got really the whole package. I mean, there's really nothing at this particular moment in time that you watch him do and you think, wow, this is a glaring hole in his game. I mean, it's the smallest things. It's the turn of his head whenever a punch is about to land. I mean, he's looking those punches off, and he looks a lot like Marco Barrera when he's doing that. And he's putting combinations together and he's, being able to work his way inside and fight inside. He can fight outside. He can fight mid-range. I mean, there's really no glaring weakness. So I would say in the sport right now, I don't know that there's another person who I would say is better than him, or I could rate I could rate higher than him. There are some guys that are on similar levels to him in terms of doing what they do. But I don't think that you see a guy like Canelo across the board in very many sports. I mean, I would be willing to put his name up there with the greatest athletes that are going right now. Not of all time, but if you want to make a list of the top 5 athletes in the world today, regardless of sport, I don't know that you don't put him on there. I mean, he's really firing all cylinders. And I know that a lot of people say, well, Kovalev was past it. Well, Kovalev was not looking too poor last night. And don't forget, this is a guy that's always had tremendous power too. Maybe he didn't utilize it. Maybe that was part of his plan to make it a little bit later into the fight. And as you saw the fight move on towards the end, he started putting a little bit of power on some punches. And so I think he was starting to see some openings, but then it just all went to hell in a handbasket for him. I mean, it was really a tremendous show from Canelo in the end. Overall, if you watch that fight, you might not be thrilled by what you saw from start to finish. But at the end of it, I thought it was a tremendous knockout, a tremendous win for him, because he never was in danger. I mean, you could watch the fight and yeah, you could have Kovalev up like Andy, and I also did as well. I'm not sure what the rest of the gang had. I think Dave may have had Kovalev up as well. But you can watch it and have him up, but you realize at no point was the kid ever in danger. So I was really impressed. And I have been on the negative side of Canelo before. I think especially when he was at 154 pounds, I wasn't a big fan whenever he was really young. I didn't think he was what everyone was claiming he was, but I think he's grown into it for sure.
That was another excuse I meant to mention. It was one for Kovalev himself. He said it was like maybe the gap between the fights and stuff. End of the day is he came off a Yarde fight, and he'd mentioned, I specifically remember him on an interview saying it's good. He didn't mind the short gap between the two fights and stuff, because it meant he didn't have time to get into bother and stuff, so it actually suited him better and stuff. So I want to throw that out there as an excuse for Kovalev. Like,
and did they say anything? If he'd have had 26 weeks, they'd have said, yeah, well, the longer training camp's better. Buddy McGirt said that this is better and that's better, whatever the situation was. It's the same old boxing, innit?
Yeah, as I was saying, I mean, I forget who it was and that we were kind of arguing about during the week and stuff about training camps. I think it was Dave Allen and stuff. But what was it, 6 weeks again in total? But as he says, after Yard and that, he took time off. That, I think I heard in the broadcast last night he didn't have any time off. That's bollocks. I know for a fact he had got his Instagram anyways, with his family and that, in Russia on boats and stuff like that. So he did have time
skiing.
Off. Yep, definitely. So we'll not have any of that shite either.
Mentioning Buddy McGirt there, Ozzy, shout out to the Reynosos in the opposite corner. They've turned out to be excellent trainers. They've helped their fighter mature into a real all-rounder, all the things aside with Canelo. Ryan Garcia as well, looks like he's improving under them. As for Buddy McGirt, I was a bit disappointed he didn't pull out his old party trick after round 10 and threaten to stop the fight. He always seems to do that. That's his one bit of motivator. I do rate Buddy McGirt as a trainer, but I also think the Reynosos are doing a fantastic job, Ozzy.
I completely agree. Completely agree. I thought they nailed it. I thought, in terms of, I wouldn't dub it a cherry pick, as in, I mean, if you're saying Kovalev is a cherry pick, I would disagree with that. But yeah, the game plan was great. I mean, the finish was not out the blue, but just the way it happened. It was like Kovalev was just like he was knackered and he just couldn't take the shots, and a tremendous finish. I'd even at the point. So I thought Don Trella's card was pretty fair. I'm seeing absolute outrage that he was a roundup and things like that. I don't think it's an absolute disgust. But at the same time, I don't disagree with people who are saying like I've had Kovalev a couple of rounds ahead as well, because he was doing the better work early on. I mean, I found it bizarre that the first couple of rounds some judges gave him to Canelo. I just didn't understand that whatsoever. He didn't really do anything. However, he was fairly impressive. And he was kind of walking Kovalev down at times, which is, you would never have thought that, 2 or 3 years ago. So, when people were saying he was crushing people, it's like that persona has gone now, and that fear factor surrounding him and things like that. It's rare you would ever see someone like somebody walk Kovalev down, and the smaller guy in Canelo did exactly that. And it looked like he hurt Kovalev a number of times. And to be fair, I think, I forget what round, but maybe in 5 or 6. And I thought Kovalev caused a bit of damage to Canelo as well, but he never followed it up. And like you said, he was tentative with his shots, reluctant to throw the right hand. It was kind of a bizarre performance of some sort. But look, fair play to Canelo. What is it, a 4-weight world champion now? Don't necessarily count the 168 belt against Rocky Fielding, because I think that only the regular title. But
yeah.
So I'm not really 100% sold on that, but I've no doubt he could go and win a full version of the world title at 168. But overall, no, you've got to applaud him for the win. Got to applaud him, because like you say, Andy, as well, if it was somebody else jumping up 2 weights and doing what they did to someone like Sergey Kovalev in that fashion, everybody would be, like up in arms and cheering it on, etc. Things like that. I mean, people are looking at, like the cards saying, oh yeah, Trella's card came up for it, because there was there was scores in the same box and things like that. And it's like watching at straws. Really. Yeah, I think you've just got to sit back and just applaud the victory. I think you've just got to. I don't see how you can't, to be honest.
See, to be honest, see the attitude of this panel now. It's one of weirdness, because, as you said, the fight itself was weird. And I know that people are talking about that Kovalev wasn't committing, but I still maintain I think he was just a very healthy respect that he's got a young guy in front of him who didn't have to drain himself. Let's just get that straight, because obviously he's probably fighting out his running. I was shocked, but he came in it as well. I thought he would have come in around like the high 160s, 174. Jesus. So
yeah, I was really shocked at that. I was really surprised, and I tell you what, I thought he looked okay at it as well. Like sometimes you can jump up, and like Kell Brook when he went to 160 he didn't look normal, but I tell you what, Canelo looked all right at it. I don't see him hanging around there and things like that. I would be amazed if he did.
Well, Beterbiev is the fight now, to be honest. Talking about unifications and that, if you want to step up there. But no, I'll just finish by saying this, mate. As I said, it was a very, very weird fight, but at the end of the days, we got an emphatic clinical ending, because those scorecards and stuff like that, it's caused outrage today and stuff, and people are saying as well, okay, the knockout shouldn't negate what the scorecards were all about. I don't know. I don't know. It's and then obviously you've got somebody else, talking about the commission scorecard and that, blaming Donnie's dad for it as well. That's just absolutely brilliant.
7 year ain't it?
It was a weird night all round,
It was, but let's have it right though. It wasn't as if Canelo, was on a rampage.
No.
Kovalev was in that fight. He was well in it. So like I said, the finish, I think it makes it even more impressive that it just happened in a split second. So look, it was close. Like I said, I had it a draw. I think other people had it. Like you said, Andy, you had Kovalev ahead. A couple of other people had Canelo ahead. So look, it was a close fight at the time, and I think that's what makes the finish even more impressive.
Yeah, can we just put the fixed nonsense to bed? Sorry, Steve. Just finally, the fixed nonsense. We just end this, because there's no way that Kovalev's into a fight saying, okay, I'm going to take a dive here and get fucking chin like that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, there should have been serious concerns for Kovalev there at one point. He went straight to hospital after the fight, for Christ's sake. I mean, think about it. If Canelo had done that to someone running about his own weight, like middleweight, look at done it to Can again. We've mentioned that one, but if he'd managed to, oh my fucking Christ! So we can just end the fixed nonsense with that knockout straight away.
Definitely.
Yep, the fix wasn't in. Shout out to Don Trella.
7 year ain't it?
I thought that his card was pretty about spot on, even though they tried to just before we bring Smido and Dave in, Andy, they tried to do old Don, didn't they, on the thing? It wasn't anything to do with him this time. Not guilty.
Yeah, we'll leave it to Bellew this week. We'll leave it on the Bellew list. Aye.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you know what?
Bring
People
up
are talking about Canelo now fighting against Beterbiev, but when I mentioned Canelo possibly future in the light heavyweight division being a bit of a dark horse, they nominated me for Bellew of the Week, laughing at me as usual, Hey to Dave Lowback. The eggs on their faces right now. John Kearns over on Patreon, Dave, has thrown in a question for you. He said, what's the pod's thoughts on the rumoured rehydration clause in the Kovalev-Canelo fight? If it's true, along with the other 5 to 6 times it's been factored into his fight contracts, do you think this discredits Canelo's accomplishments?
I don't know the specific details of what actually was ruled. I heard that whatever the clause was no different than the IBF belt clause had always been at light heavyweight, so Kovalev should have been used to it. If he wasn't like cashed out and drunk, he should have been used to it anyway. I don't think the Kovalev of years ago that shows up anything like what we saw last night. That was sort of that was embarrassing for Kovalev. Like he fought scared and tentative all night, didn't commit, and still I had him up on the cards. I thought he was simply outworking him, even though a lot of the punches weren't landing clean. Neither were Canelo's punches landing particularly clean, and it was just a matter of sort of his gas tank running out. Although the stop, for the people saying it's a fix, the stoppage looks, it's the weirdness of it looks somewhat suspicious to me. I'm not saying it's a fix.
Here we go, hating.
I'm not saying it's a fix, but he just fucking fell over like all of a sudden.
Operation
the shot didn't
Outrage.
appear to land that clean. I haven't studied it in detail. I don't care because I predicted he was going to lose anyway.
I fucking knew this was coming. I fucking knew it.
But you can't really deny Canelo's achievement. He went up to 175 based on all we know, and we also have to include Canelo's history in what we know, that he couldn't really put a dent in Matty Hatton, and now he seems to be, after the Mexican meet, able to knock out light heavyweight. To be fair, an old drunkard, as Spencer put it. Apparently, a blown up 154 pounder can knock out an old drunkard, but a very large, prime, in shape light heavyweight with the training wizardry of Tunde Ajayi.
I forgot about Spencer, by the way. He'd have been wanking himself to oblivion last night, wouldn't he?
Well, no, because this is the guy who destroyed his boy. So it should make him embarrassed, really.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
Because Yard lost basically every round against Kovalev except for the 8th. So, Canelo is tiny compared to Yard, and he iced him. So, fuck Canelo. Still don't like him, but you can't deny his achievement.
Crying like
fuck
a little
Kovalev too
bitch
for being an old drunk, cashed out guy who blew his career. Really, this is not the same man who we saw years ago. And fuck boxing, honestly, because last night was an excellent example of where the sport is, and comparing it to MMA right now. Like they were so cucked by the big event in the Madison Square Garden that they were waiting to broadcast. They made Kovalev and Canelo just sit in their dressing rooms taking a nap. The biggest star in boxing, Canelo, had to sit on his ass taking a nap while the bad motherfucker belt was contested in the UFC. By the way, I watched the UFC card, and it was heads and tails above the boxing card last night. It was great for the most part. The main event.
Why don't you fuck off with that shit? This is not the MMA pod.
Get over it, Gabe. You had your chance.
Eat my balls.
Saying, this is something you got to be concerned
Cry
about.
like a little bitch.
This is something you got to be concerned about as a boxing fan. MMA is outdoing our sport. You can't deny it, honestly. If you watching the two side by side last night,
that's true.
Kovalev was mostly a shit fight, honestly, until it was a good stoppage.
Duran turned up last night at the UFC. Donald Trump had every Donald Trump just told the press, just come back, leave your bags, so I'll walk in there. Owned them last night. Donald Trump did.
Trump.
Hey to Dave, hold on a minute, because Marty G jumped in here, and this is the perfect time to read this out. He said, what do you think of a Vegas world title fight waiting for over an hour with no filler fight on another sport? Explain to me and other people who didn't stay up what exactly was going on here.
Well, yeah, not only did they make him wait, but they apparently, this is from Dana White, they begged the UFC, the MGM begged the UFC to let them broadcast their pay-per-view to the sitting impatient crowd. And so that's what they had to do. And then The Rock comes out with the shitty fake belt, whatever, and the crowd cheers and starts standing up thinking it's in the MGM. But no, it was in the MSG. But yeah, it's just like, could it have been any more obvious? Like, how... I'm surprised that Golden Boy and DAZN and all, they let this happen. Like, why would you schedule it on this night if you were gonna bitch out and not show and not like go head to head with it? Because they knew they couldn't stand up head to head with it, especially with a weak ass card overall. And then second of all, why would you give in and then like just make it as obvious as possible by showing the card and waiting until the minute the card ended to start your own event? It just, I mean... Yeah,
but then play 3 national anthems after it?
Yeah, just get that shit out of the way.
Fucking hell!
Oh, what a disgrace. Yeah, I just thought the whole event last night was embarrassing for boxing and for Golden Boy and for basically everybody involved.
Dana loved it.
Yeah, Dana was probably laughing his ass off. Even though his main event, too, did not have... I'll admit this about the UFC. The main event was a bust because, like, the New York doctor stopped the fight on a cut, which was not a particularly bad cut. Tyson Fury's the other week was much worse. You could see his fucking skull. But, yeah, the New York Commission is just not... They're a little sensitive when it comes to blood and injuries, I guess. So, yeah, hopefully if they do further MMA cards, do them out of New York. There's always some bullshit happening in New York. With boxing, of course, it's Texas or Germany in the old days or fucking Russia. I don't have much more to say on this.
Or Manchester.
I only watched it once. I'm not going to watch it again. It doesn't really deserve to be broken down in detail as far as I'm concerned. Disappointing to the way to see Kovalev's career end like this, and I think he brought it on himself with some shitty out of the ring behavior.
Hey, today we're back on fire, everybody. Rapping Rob Kelly's in the call as well. We'll be coming to you shortly, Rob. Before we do so, Adam Smido Smith is waiting patiently.
Like a little bitch.
Quite like a little bitch. Wait a little bit more patiently, Smido, because we've had a long one in from Dippo Osho. I know that you respect Dippo's opinions. It's always good to hear from him. So just indulge me while I read this out and tell me what you think. Dippo says, Smido, this could be an unpopular opinion, but I don't respect Canelo as a fighter. His whole career has question marks and controversy associated with it. You simply cannot ignore how he dragged fighters down to Canelo weight in order to gain the size advantage, which we now know was down to clenbuterol, so it makes sense how he was able to get back up in weight again so quickly. Even with the above mentioned, he lost fights to Trout, Lara and Triple G, but the corruption network had him winning. They even tried to rob Mayweather after he shut him out. Canelo has never beaten a champion in his prime, so how can he be considered a great fighter? What standout win does he have that isn't tainted with something? Dippo continues, Smido. He won his super middleweight title against Rocky Fielding, for fuck's sake. He, for me, is everything that's wrong about boxing. He's achieved a lot on paper, so I would now like to see him fight some meaningful, untainted fights at any weight he's choosing to fight at. Fight a champion in their prime, maybe a Beterbiev or a Bivol at light heavy, a Callum Smith, Caleb Plant or Benavidez at super middleweight, or a Billy Joe Saunders or Jamal Charlo at middleweight. In conclusion, Smido, fuck Canelo.
There's some fair points in there, but I was kind of expecting this to come up. So last week I said that this was a done deal. Kovalev was cherry picked, and I think he was. But I think that on things like this, time is a healer. So we can pick holes like we used to in Floyd Mayweather's, the way he went about business, you know, waiting for people to get old or weight limits or whatever it may be. But we've got to remember that Canelo is, whether we like it or not, is the star of the sport. So he can demand things like this, and because of the money involved, people accept it. Kovalev didn't have to accept this fight. Canelo didn't have to accept to go down to 150 or whatever it was for Mayweather. But this is what people do. you put the stipulation there. If people are daft enough, or to take it, then that's what they do. But like I say, time's a healer. When you look back at Canelo's record and even last night's win, you're not going to be able to argue with it. I don't think it was an absolutely tremendous win when you think about it, right? So, like I say, when the dust settles in 4, 5, 6, 10 years, this is going to go down as one of his best wins to date, and probably by the time he's finished. You could easily argue that Kovalev is the most decorated light heavyweight before last night. I mean, we know Beterbiev is the inform, / hardcore choice, but Kovalev was making his 14th defence last night. So Canelo has now fought in 3 weight divisions in just over 13 months. He went in last night against the defending champion, making what I added up as his 14th defence of a world title in Kovalev. Kovalev also, not too long ago, pushed easily the best fighter in or around his weight, probably this century, to a razor-sharp decision. Obviously a loss. We knew that Kovalev was past his best, but I was actually surprised. I think Ozzy mentioned it earlier. I was surprised how good Kovalev actually was last night in the early rounds. Not good as in vintage Kovalev, but interested. He looked switched on, interested. The output was there, the movement was there, the ability was there. It was a strange strategy from him because we wasn't used to seeing it. I was disappointed that he wasn't really sitting down on his punches at all, really. But he was winning rounds. I mean, regardless of what the scorecard said, I think it's clear. I think everyone that is in agreement that Kovalev was banging the fight, particularly in the first half of the fight. But maybe that was Canelo's game plan, that to let him tire. That it don't take a rocket scientist to see what's been happening recently in Kovalev's fight. Now, I don't know whether the lack of committing to power shots was the plan from the get-go from Kovalev, or he might have realised early on that whenever he tried to throw the right hand, Canelo was right there with the left hook counter, whether it was body or head. He was bang on it, and it was clear to me from early doors that whenever Kovalev threw that, Canelo was just going to throw that left hook counter. Again, it's not rocket science, but I think that if Kovalev seen that early doors, that might have been why he went into a bit of his what we would call tippy tappy, to be honest, rather than going for the power shot. So I don't know where the chicken and egg was there. That's what I'm trying to say. It didn't really catch fire. It was pretty crap, to be honest, until the ending. But Canelo's got the job done. Waiting for him to burn energy, was throwing a lot of punches. Kovalev, like he was doing against Yard, really, and moving a lot. And obviously the gas tank emptied towards the end. I mean, the knockout obviously is going to look sensational on the highlight reels and on the GIFs and that, but really that was just a man whose gas tank had emptied in the two rounds before that, and he was basically a sitting duck to me. You could see, I think that he hit him with kind of a right hand to the forehead in some sort of a clinch, and you could see the next time that the action broke for a slight second, you could see the energy just sapping out with Kovalev, and then in came the KO. Just on the drug situation, I was borderline a Canelo fanboy before the drugs issue came up, and it will forever take my view of him. But then I have to remember that I just think that they're all at it anyway. It's just that he's been caught. I think everyone's at it, and I don't actually care that they're at it, to be honest, because I just don't think we're going to stop it. There's no consensus effort to try and stop it, so it's just going to continue. And just also on the drugs questions, got to remember this kid turned professional when he was 15, so he's obviously naturally going to grow through the weights as well as the Mexican beef. So there could well be a combination there. But yeah, he turned pro at 15, like Pacquiao really turned pro dead young, and hence has gone through the weights. Just on the scorecards, are we surprised that Canelo was winning? Like, come on, it's Las Vegas, it's Canelo land. No one's surprised. Like, you're going to have to, in Vegas, to beat this guy, you're going to have to either be Floyd Mayweather or knock him out. So I don't think we can be surprised at that. It's not particularly right. I mean, I didn't really score it. I thought it was, like I said, pretty crap most of the fight. But yeah, we can't be surprised at that. But it's got to go down as a tremendous achievement. It really, really has. And I think it will do it on reflection in a few years.
I fell asleep.
Jason Chucker has woken up. He's in the chat. Welcome to you, Jason. Just on the knockout,
Yes.
it had a bit of a Price Povetkin element to me, Smido. Like, do you remember when he got frozen in time? He was obviously a lot more speeded up than that. Price sort of stood there for a few seconds. It was the bang. Oh shit! I've been hit. I've been frozen. I've been boom. The right hand comes in behind it as well.
Yeah, well, I said that about Price last week. I said it before. Like after that right hand clinch with Price, it is just sheer exhaustion. But Kovalev, we saw him get it with the body shot by Andre Ward. That didn't finish the fight, but the fight was finished from that point, if you see what I mean. And so was it last night with that. Again, it was tiring. I think Canelo threw some sort of right hand over the top to the top of his skull, in or around the clinch. And then the next time Kovalev kind of bounced on his feet, the energy was just gone. He was a sitting duck.
I fell asleep.
Rapping Rob Kelly, welcome to you. No doubt you stayed up and watched the fight. A lot of people, I want to know how you scored it, because a lot of people are saying...
Did you? Fell asleep. Fell asleep just before it started. Woke up and didn't go to the phone. I woke up and didn't go to the phone. I wouldn't mind. I got
I fell asleep.
in a sports pass, free sports pass on Now TV to watch it like crystal clear and everything. Then I had to get up and watch a computer version anyway. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I'm wondering, Rob, about the scoring, because a lot of people said they had Kovalev up at the time. I thought Kovalev wasn't really committing to a lot of the shots for whatever reason. So therefore, you're scoring a lot of points and rounds off the back of his jab. What is it with the Eastern European guys? Your Kovalevs, your Triple Gs, Klitschko back in the day. A lot of people give them credit for the jab almost more than any of the other punches. Their jab seems to count for more than other boxers.
Well, I think you're raising an interesting point, because
it's about
depending
time,
on what. Well, I think if depending on which way you score the fights, you're talking about ring generalship and effective aggression. So at what point, when Kovalev is tapping Canelo with the jab all the time, does that stop becoming ring generalship and effective aggression when Canelo's kind of walking him down? So I watched it the first time I watched it, I definitely had Kovalev up. However, I watched it back again this evening, and you could see how judges might not score for him when, as I said, it's not effective aggression and it's not ring generalship. It's just like he's kind of, in the second half of the fight, it was just like he was backing up. And the jab, like everyone's called it so far, as far as I can hear, that I thought when he was throwing the jab, there wasn't much authority on it. It was like a tentative move to keep just keep Canelo out of range to throw the body shot. Like it was like he was terrified of getting hit to the body, because he was happy just to keep Canelo out of distance rather than put anything on the punches. Now, whether he's not able to put them together, but I thought Kovalev was very tame last night. I think I said last week, this was a fight, wasn't a gimme, and it wasn't a gimme. Canelo was certainly behind, but I knew there was going to be a point where Kovalev would explode, and I think you have to judge him on form. Since the second Andre Ward fight, he's probably looked good once in the second Alvarez fight, either Alvarez or whatever his name is, that knocked him out. And other than that, he's been shaky the whole way through. And last night, even though Canelo didn't look like stopping him before that, you could tell he just wasn't the same. Like, I mean, we go back to his performance against Hopkins, which has to be 7 years ago now. He was so good at keeping that jab and like putting something on that jab. To go back to your point, there's nothing wrong with winning a round with just your jab. If you're snapping it out and you're disrupting the guy's rhythm, you can completely win a round like that. But if you're just throwing it out just to keep distance, it's like you're scared to exchange, and that's coming across. And I think, question mark, I don't want to go all Paulie Malignaggi, where's your balls, Connor? But I think there has to be questions about Canelo. This was the guy that we're saying was too small for middleweight. Don't forget, wouldn't go up to fight Golovkin at middleweight. Was looking for a catch weight. Would have wanted a catch weight for other middleweight fights. So he was either cheating the weight then, or he's cheating the weight now. But at some stage he was cheating the weight, because I did say as well last week I thought he was going to come in looking body beautiful, and we all said the size difference on the day before the weigh-in, and then he comes in on the night and he's ripped to shreds. And you got to give Canelo a lot of credit for his ability. He has come along. All right, the Mexican meat scandal has tainted him in a lot of people's eyes, mine included. 7 years ago, I even made a song called Canelo Alvarez. I'm such a big fan. But that left a sour taste in my mouth. And some of his diva behaviour since post the Floyd fight, I thought Golovkin clearly won the first fight, lads. I mean, I know we talk about, retrospect, and Smitho saying time is a healer. He's dead right, because you can forget about these things. Golovkin beat him in the first fight. Second fight, I think Canelo won it more clearly. But the first fight, Golovkin beat him, and he got the nod. He gets the nod in close situations. He's ahead again last night on the score, and so he is the star the sport, he does get the diva treatment, so it is kind of harder to root for him. But in terms of his ability, he's a very, very good fighter. He's after improving all the time. I mean, thought even his performance against, people were thinking Danny Jacobs was going to trouble him. He seems to be just improving so much that he's able to get wins against good guys and not really ever look in trouble. And he's got a hell of a beard. Like, he's got some chin, big neck on him, big back on him. It's hard to move him. I don't think I've ever seen him hurt since the Cotto's brother fought him years ago, and he was only a kid. He kind of walked onto something in the first round and was all over the place. But I haven't even seen him hurt, I don't think, since then. And Golovkin landed a lot on him in the first fight too, so he's got a hell of a chin. But it was a bit anticlimactic. The fight wasn't great. The knockout was good for the casuals. It's another one for Canelo. Now he's 4-weight world champion. They can market that. Where does he go now, though? I mean, he's not going to fight Beterbiev. You must be fucking kidding me. You think Golden Boy are going to let him fight Beterbiev? You must be joking me. Not a hope. Not a hope. They're not going to put him in with a real brute like that at 75. I don't care what anyone says. And if he wants to fight, good for him. But I heard him saying during the week that he wants to challenge himself now at cruiserweight. So that might be telling you something else as well. I don't know what if he's good enough to beat anybody at cruiserweight. But yeah, it is what it is. Is he the pound for pound number one? If you have to judge him on the fact that he was exonerated on his beat sample, I suppose he is. I mean, there's no other 4-weight world champions currently active that I know of, and his resume is certainly a great one at this stage. So
is Inoue no?
Inoue.
If you know a 4, so he 3-weight, I think. Light fly.
3-weight.
Is he 3-weight? Is he?
Yeah. So I mean, Inoue is fucking amazing as well. But I'm talking about like that. I suppose the generic pound for pound list, which is constantly torn between Loma and Crawford. You'd have to put, if you're going to go on achievements and stuff and resumes, then Canelo has to be number one, doesn't he? Like, so
Canelo and Crawford's resumes are night and day, for goodness sake.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Right, we're going to go over to the Manchester very shortly, but before we do so, Gabe, anything from the undercard that caught your eye? This Blair Cobbs seems like quite the character. He got a win, knockout, or retirement, whatever it was. And Ryan Garcia, a favourite of yours, bathing in tears, got his money, got the job done against Romero Duno. Impressive finish.
Yeah, I was a little bit impressed by his finish. He fucking hurt that guy, so that was a pretty good display from him. And then Blair Cobbs, I mean, I'm kind of like you. He's something else. He's a little bit different kind of cat. But I mean, he keeps on rolling. So he was the first guy to beat Ferdinand Korobian. He's a Golden Boy prospect that I like quite a bit. But I enjoyed watching him in that fight, and he seems to be advancing nicely. I think he's a guy that's kind of learning while he's fighting. Not a ton of experience, but I think he's pretty good. So I'm interested to see where he goes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find information on, excuse me, Saul Farah. I saw that he was doing the pads. What is it, the Rumble Outside the Jungle or something, I think it was called. Was he over in Trinidad and Tobago or somewhere?
I can confirm.
Is it a couple of weeks' time? Is it next week or is it 2 weeks' time he's fighting?
No, he boxed last night for the Universal Boxing Organisation World Heavyweight title, and he lost.
Did he?
He lost on points, yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sad to hear
I saw he held an open workout, it looked like in a little market in Congo or something like that, but yeah.
A rematch in the offing there, I think, with his great nemesis back in, where is he fighting again? Bolivia?
Yeah. Aye, your man Cesar Mamani, who's fought about 12 times.
I've actually just found a video of him stopping that Cesar Mamani. Honestly, that Cesar Mamani is a fucking disgrace.
He's fought about 90 times that Saul Farah, isn't he? He's beat that guy about 80 of them as well.
But he's refereeing about 70 of them.
He's had 98 fights.
Fucking hell. Which one was an actual fight, so that's the thing. Fuck me.
What a legend. We've started getting tagged in on his stuff now, haven't we, by this guy, Tim Boxio?
I'm sure he's got another fight arranged, though. I'm sure he has in a couple of weeks or something.
He has
a cross between...
Next couple of weeks for the Bolivian heavyweight title against Carmelo Roca.
Was it the vacant title, mate? I think it might be a successful defence, possibly.
I think it is, yeah. I'm trying to think. He's not fought this guy either before. Oh, yeah, he has. He has. It's a rematch back in 2014, and Farrow was a victor in the second round. Rocker was down in the second and failed to get up. Actually, he's fought him.
Of course he did.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, is that the first rematch or the second rematch? That's what I was going to ask you there.
Yeah, it's the third rematch.
Oh, the third rematch, right?
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Go on, Rob.
He's a cross between Terry O'Connor and Terry Norris.
Sorry, I'm wrong again. It is the fourth rematch.
Oh.
They first boxed back in 2006. And Farrow was a winner in the third round. And they boxed they boxed again another 2 times after that. So yeah, Foul building up the rematches.
Right, let's move on, boys. Hi to Dave Lowback. Let's bring you in. Miguel Berchelt against Jason Souza. Did you manage to see anything of this? I'm not going to go to Rob on this. I know that was annoying him last week. I love Souza. He has an amazing boxer's nose. It's like a flat iron. Did you see anything of it, Dave Berchelt?
I just saw the finish. I like Souza too, so I was pulling for him.
But washed, nope.
Yeah, he looks like he's he's a guy who always takes damage in his fights. Uses his hard beard, and it did not hold up last night. I think he got dropped 3-4 times. He's done.
Praise to Berchelt.
Yeah. It's a takeover fight sort of for Berchelt. Like a respectable name, because he's done some good things in the sport. So he's made it tough with like the likes of Nicholas Walters, beat the shit out of Stephen Smith, right? Yeah, Jason Sousa's good guy to watch, but so it's a respectable name, but it's not something you would expect a guy like Berchelt to take at this stage in his career. You'd expect him to be like gunning for the bigger names. And the bigger risks, but no. So I guess if you're going to fight a guy like Sousa, you definitely want to do him like that.
Yeah, I've been calling for Berchelt to come back. He's been swimming around in obscurity, but he was so hard punching and accurate last night. Sousa just couldn't get out the way of his shots, and I'm surprised he even lasted into the fourth round. Berchelt, his arms are like broomsticks, man. They were just sweeping him from every angle, and I thought Jack Reese should have stopped a little bit earlier. Instead of getting Sousa to do that funny walking thing, he was toast, he was done. Glad to see Berchelt back, but that was just target practice. It was getting uncomfortable to watch at one point. Andy, feel free to mention that if you want, or tell me about Germany. Leon Boone, Enrico Koling. What was going on with the scores over there?
Yeah, well, I've not seen the fight yet, actually, and I don't suppose I ever will, but yeah, it's just like, obviously people are losing their shit about the Kovalev Canelo situation and stuff like that, so we want to hear his scorecard. So Leon Boone won the fight, right? Split decision on the cards. 116, 112, 119, 109 to Bun, and then inking the third scorecard for Koling for 116, 112 to Koling. So there's a fucking swing and a half for you. I don't know who the judges are, by the way, but just something to kind of bring up as well. That, you know, judging scorecards that in America, Britain, Germany are still shocking.
Still shocking on the old scorecards. Yeah, I'm just looking at them now. Split decision win for Leon Boone. Let's go over to Manchester then. Aussie, the final farewell for old Anthony Crolla. Flying in with a question for you, Simon Alevy said, ask Aussie if you can remember a worse card in the British ring recently than Crolla versus Urquiaga, 98-92. This is people's lives and livelihood, says Simon Alevy. They are cheating with here, and it's sickening.
I don't think I can. I actually don't think I can. It is probably the worst card I have ever seen. It was a disgrace. I mean, to say that the Spanish guy only won a couple of... I just don't understand it. Judges should be made to explain cards like that. I had the Spaniard winning pretty handedly, to be honest. 3 rounds. I thought Crolla was hurt a number of times. It was just... And I mean, I'm hearing things at the end of, well, it was his farewell fight. It doesn't really matter. It fucking does. It fucking does matter, because this Spanish guy could have gone and had a win over Crolla, picked up this fringe ranking belt, but it could be it's a big thing for him, and I feel for him. He came over, he was brought over basically to roll over and lose. He didn't. He gave it his all. He battered Crolla at times, and then he gets fucked over on the cards like that. It's an absolute disgrace. I just don't understand where the 97, 93 and 98, 92 cards came from. And then I'm seeing at the end from like in interviews and things like that, oh, well, he got away with one there. It was close and we had Crolla winning by 2 or 3. How? I just don't understand it at all. Don't understand it. It's disappointing. It's really disappointing because you find, I mean, the fight was shite anyway. It wasn't exactly, you know, like it was just a money grab, basically, a farewell. Tony Bellew didn't have a farewell, you know, when he retired. He went out. He may well have got beat off Usyk, but he didn't come back, you know, for a money grab. This fight didn't need to happen, and when it did, it's just surrounded by controversy. And when people mention it now, I mean, look, people are giving like the big hurrah for Crolla as well. I mean, I think he's been massively overrated by Sky for a while. I mean, they made something out of the Linares situation and got him a rematch. I mean, it just topped up Linares' bank balance, that, because that was completely unnecessary. He obviously had that incident with, I mean, a bizarre incident when he got his head caved in by that intruder where he hit him with a brick. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's really unfortunate. That is fucking unpredictable. But no, overall, the question, yeah, I've never seen, from memory anyway, a worse card than that of Steve Gray at 98, 92. And I've put Howard Foster's in there at 97, 93. Alexander at a draw, yeah, fine. Like I said, some people had it I had it 3 rounds. Some people had the Spaniard winning by 5. Others had it a bit tighter. But to say at 98, 92 and 97, 93 is just no. Not right, not fair. And it's just a disgrace. But that's it now. It'll just be swept under the carpet. This guy will go back to Spain, be earning pittance because, you know, there's not huge amounts of cash over there in the sport unless you're like a big ticket seller like at Rehydration. And that's him done. Or unless they basically thought, actually, he did do a job, and then they'll chuck this guy in with like one of the lightweight prospects coming through, and they'll bring him back over.
CMF's in the chat says, embarrassing the arse licking off Canelo on this pod. He's a cheat. Yeah, we've just been saying that for about the last 15 minutes or so. Maybe you should wash your ears out. Back over to Manchester. We'll never forget Smido about...
Wash your out, you bitch.
Yeah, crying like a little bitch. They don't listen. Yeah, what about Anthony Crolla, Smido? Also about Katie Taylor. Chukwu's saying here he felt that Linadatu did enough to win the fight, but I've no real interest in Taylor, or people shit on women's boxing. My view on women's boxing is it's the same as men's boxing. If it's a decent fight, I'll watch it, like Taylor against Pursoon, or, you know, what was the other girl, Breaker, something like that. I'll be interested in watching that, but if it's a shit fight, then I'll not be interested in it. That's my opinion, but I thought that Taylor won the fight. I don't see any way that Linadatu, she wasn't landing anything, she was throwing all her shots from too far out. So that was a fair one anyway, Smido. Terry Harper got a win, Martin McCauley got a win. To start us off with Crolla, Smido, did you even see this?
Steve, I'm completely the wrong person to ask because remember that time the famous Rob Kelly said, I don't waste my Saturday nights watching this shit or watching that shit. That was me last night. There was absolutely no way I was going to watch any of that. It was horrid. And then Edwards coming on about, oh, it's a great card. It's a great card. Fuck off. Because that was shit. I'm not interested in women's boxing. I'm definitely not interested in 2 fights women's boxing. And I'm not interested in a lap of honour for Anthony Crolla over 10 rounds, which turned out to be a robbery anyway. Not that I've seen it, but pretty much everyone's saying it's a robbery. I quite admire Anthony Crolla, and have done. Actually was there when for both Darlis Perez fights. But no, I'm not. I wasn't interested in any of that shit last night. No, not a chance. Not a chance. I've got better things to do on Saturday night than watch that shit.
That's me told. Smido and CMF coming after me. Yeah. What about you, Rob Kelly? Did you sit up and watch this on a Saturday night? Jack Cullen against Felix Cash. That was a pretty decent scrap, I thought. Go on, Rob. Jump in there. Climb off the picnic blanket. Rob's not biting. Andy, anything from you? Cullen Cash, no?
Fell asleep on the couch, mate.
Sorry.
Where you go, Rob?
If Rob watched that, come on, Rob. If I am
might have done, you never know.
No, actually, do you know what I did? I did. I watched the live because the missus was staying up, so she likes Katie Taylor, so we were looking at Katie. Brian Peters, I see, never misses an opportunity for jumping in front of a fucking camera. That fella, Owen McLove, he's fucking never saw a camera he didn't jump out of in front of that guy. I thought Katie Taylor won the fight pretty handily, man. It was a tough night's work. I think she's showing signs of regression at 33. I wouldn't be in a rush to throw her in with Pursoon again or Serrano, but that looks like the route they're taking. They're going to get 2 more fights. I think Eddie Hearn's a piece of shit as well. Like, why does he have to fucking talk after the Katie Taylor fight? Just get on. What the fuck are you in there talking for? Oh, Katie's an example to all women. All right, cool, man, she is. But why the fuck are you? You don't see Aram jumping in the ring every fucking in between fights ahead of the main card to talk. Like, you shut the fuck up and get out of the ring. Like, you want bring Peters with you. But yeah, I turned the Crolla fight off after 6 rounds, dude. I mean, look, I say this all the time. We're watching fights for over 30 years at this stage, like, you know, and I lived through some great fighters, even like the ones that weren't superstars, like Mark Breland, Marlon Starling, that era and everything. So, like, I'm looking at the quality of that fight last night. I thought the guy, the Spanish kid, came to win. He seemed very relaxed. The occasion didn't get to him. He did engage in a bit of gamesmanship early on that might have put him out of favour with the judges, but the house was in. The house fighter was going to win. I thought that fucking video montage before when everyone stopped doing video montages and getting back to fighting. What was wrong with Tyson coming out in the 80s with just a fucking towel over him and coming out to fight? Like, what are you doing all this fucking big production? Like Anthony Crolla, it's not like he's some fucking silver tongue devil where you're going to be hanging on his every word or anything. Thank you, Manchester, for the career I've had. I'm coming to the ring now. Ah, shut up, like, will you, for fuck's sake. So, you know, it was all right. I mean, it was on a whole. I wouldn't begrudge him getting a payday, to be honest with you, to retire on. I definitely wouldn't begrudge him getting a payday at the end. I know it was, but the decision was horrible. But that's it. He retires now and he goes out of the public eye. Probably overachieved in the sport. So I don't knock him. To be honest with you, I don't knock him for getting the money. But in terms of the quality of the card, I mean, apart from the Cullen Cash fight, it was awful. Shout out to my friend from Wexford, by the way, who has recently come into a sum of money and is about to go to China, but decided to stop off in Manchester on the way, went to the fights, pissed as a fat. I think Ben Faruqi ran into him at one stage, but managed to get photos with Macklin, Hearn, Adam Smith, Katie Taylor, Bacoli, and best of all, Obanov. So shout out to Paul Fenton from Wexford on a mad one in Manchester. I'd say that's probably about the highlight of the card for me.
The card was a disgrace, wasn't it? It was absolutely awful. The second most competitive fight, which was probably Kez and Joe Hatton, was thrown on Facebook. And then at the end of it, Ben asks Edward why it wasn't on. Kez needs to do more. You chuck fucking Terry Harper on, who no one gives a toss about, yet you've got this young prospect who you raved over when you signed him, and you chuck him on Facebook Live. He needs to do more. Absolute bollocks. Then you've got Martin Bacoli knocking out that Rodney Hernandez, and they're all saying, oh yeah, what an excellent win. Not many people stop Rodney Hernandez. The guy's 13-8 with 2 draws. Let's not bang the drum about this guy. He's hardly a spectacular win. Fuck me. It's like we're banging Sky Demand heavyweights on all cards now, apparently. So regardless of the opposition, looks like we're going to see, just heavyweights churned on there, probably in against puddings and just for highlight reel knockouts. I don't agree with any of the comments about Katie Taylor getting beat. I don't see that. No. I don't really. I thought the size was quite evident actually. For Lennart to do, I thought she was clearly the bigger woman, and I mean, I'll be impressed if Taylor hangs around there because there's some good fights for her. I mean, you've obviously got the Delphine Pursoon rematch. I saw something that they were on about talking about. Is it
Pursoon's fighting the weight below for an interim belt? I noticed as I was looking through the schedule there. I think it's either next week or 2 weeks time.
Listen to this, lads. Brian King sent this to me from Gavin Casey, a journalist over here. I know Gavin. He said, I overheard Eddie Hearn mention special plans for a Katie Taylor versus Delphine Pursoon rematch down the corridor, so asked him if it could potentially land as a Sky Sports box office pay-per-view main event. Sky are certainly pushing in that direction, he confirmed.
You're joking.
It's
absolutely. Right, I'll tell you what then. The only reason she fought in front of these 8,000 last night is because they put Crolla on last. Because if they put Crolla on as the chief support, everybody would have fucked off, and Taylor would have been boxing in front of a couple of men and the dogs. Because no one is bothered. They can bang on about it, but I mean, I don't know why they've not taken her to Ireland.
She had a fair crowd in there last night, though, didn't she? It was quite noisy. For what I recall when she came, they said like she was a 2-weight champ or whatever, a 3-weight champ. But
she's a mega star over here.
See if you want a pay-per-view event and stuff like that with her headline, I would go for the Brackhouse fight. Think about that, man. You absolutely undisputed welterweight champion.
Yeah.
And her also
I think they would have done the pay-per-view with her over here, because she would sell out the 3 Arena in Ireland, which is used to be 9,000 capacity. So she'd sell that out easy, but they can't have fights over here at the moment. So, you know what I mean, with the situation and all that, like nobody wants to be getting...
Is it still banned?
Well, they won't sanction any fights over here at the moment with the risk. The risks are too high, security risks. So she's not going to. I could understand them doing a box office with her and thinking people will travel, because she will get a good lot of numbers coming over from here. If it's a headliner for her pay per view, they will pump it up over here. But like, I mean, she shouldn't be on pay per view as good as she is for a woman's boxer. I don't think she has that star power. But I could definitely understand if they had been able to put on a fight here and then make a box office. I would have said they would have done that already, maybe.
No, I can get that. And plus, there's the Chantel Cameron fight as well, which is one that I would actually like to see. I think Cameron can beat her as well. So that's one that I'd like to see. And obviously the Bassoon rematch. So, yeah, there's obviously plans. Cash Cullen was quality. Was absolutely class. That was a brilliant 8 rounds. I thought Cullen recovered really well. Started a bit slow, looked a bit, like maybe a bit overawed by the crowd, and in no time he was on his arse and dropped. But I thought he responded really well, and I had it really close at the time of the stoppage. Cullen was on top in round 8, and then from nowhere, in round 7 it was. It dominated in round 7, and then Cash landed a tremendous body shot, and it took everything out of Cullen. But yeah, that was a really good contest, and that's what you want to see. And we say it all the time: you match 2 lads at a level, and 9 times out of 10 it will produce the goods, and it did that again. But overall, very disappointing. I mean, like I said, it was a typical. I mean, Edward was saying in like post event interviews about how people were coming up to him and criticising the card and saying it was poor compared to what they've done previously, but it turned out to be excellent. Cash Cullen probably saved, because that was such a good fight. But I don't understand that you can say that, with such a straight face and say it was great. And if this is the standard of Saturday night cards, then what is the point? Because it's nothing to look forward to. It's poor. I would rather see just, like central area title fights, English title fights, British title fights, because they're competitive. I don't think people are clambering, for, like world titles and, like high profile fights on Saturday nights all the time. If they're competitive and produce the goods, people will be happy. No one gives a fuck about Martin Bacoli against Rodney Hernandez and people like that. It's just, no one cares. So you hope that this is just one of them, that it's just gone. Crolla's gone. You probably don't see him coming back to Manchester in the future now. Can't really think of who they've got, to build a platform around there, unless, they just use the Manchester Arena for a big pay-per-view show, because it's like it's second biggest or bigger than the O2 at 20,000. But one more thing, Crolla's retiring, but what a shame we never saw the Terry Flanagan fight as well. At one point, from where they were both world champions at lightweight, what a fight that would have been for Manchester. It would have been like, like a grudge between Sky and, at that point, Box Nation. One's a City fan, one's a United fan. They went to the same school. It would have been a big unification fight, and sadly, politics got in the way of it from what I think would have been an excellent fight for both those two and the City as well.
Paul Massingham was in touch on the Facebook page on the Taylor fight as well. He said, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on the Taylor fight. I personally thought she lost the fight by 1 or 2 rounds. She spent a lot of time on the back foot in the first 3 or 4 rounds, didn't do till later in the fight. Adam Smith talking absolute shit again.
Rumble fucking Stiltskin.
Good fight, just wrong decision in my eyes, says Paul Massingham. No, I think that Taylor was a winner, to be honest. What'd you say, Smith?
Oh, the commentator. I thought you was calling me out there, Steve.
No, not you, Smitho. You wouldn't be talking shite. We respect you.
Well, I just got muddled up there, and obviously there's 2 Adam Smiths. One's a lot better than the other. I can't talk shit about it. I didn't even fucking watch it.
Well, you didn't miss much, Smith.
No.
And
Right,
one is known
see...
to the one is known to the Americans as Smeedo, and one is known to the others as something that rhymes with Smeedo. So
and that folks, is why he is verified.
Amigo, of course,
Operation
is what I meant there.
U-Tree.
Amigo, Adam Amigo Smith. We'll never forget.
Operation U-Tree.
Right, guys, I was saying the other American card, did anybody see anything of it? Javier Fortuna, second round knockout over Jesus Cuellar. Missed that one, but I did see Brian Castaño, retirement against Wally Amatoso. Shout out to Kenny Chevalier, the fleet-footed American referee, one of my favourites. I like Castaño. He had a draw with Erislandy Lara back in April. Really skilled fighter, gets in and out, throws a lot of shots. Argentinian. Anybody see anything of this? Oh, Dave, this might be up your street, actually. The Russells were on. Gary Antoine Russell got a knockout win, and so did Gary Antonio Russell. This is your type of thing, Dave?
I like the... Well, I don't know who Gary Antonio Russell is, and I don't care for Gary Russell Jr., but Gary Antoine Russell, I liked him in the Olympics, and he seems like... I thought he deserved to continue advancing. I thought he definitely won the fight in which he was eliminated in the Olympics. He also, I've read one interview involving him, and he seemed like a nice kid. It seemed like he's into boxing for the right reasons. So I wish the best for him. I've never watched him as a pro though, so hopefully I'll watch him when he fights someone I recognize. But yeah, I do wish the best for his career. I didn't watch any boxing last night aside from Canelo Kovalev.
Dave, you weren't on last week.
Dave sounded like.
Go on, Rob.
Sorry. No, I was saying Dave sounded like Robbie Keane there when he got his move to Inter Milan. He said, Liam Brady went to Italy as well, and he said, yeah, I've never seen Liam Brady play, but I'm going to use him as a role model.
Dave, there was a card in Reading, Pennsylvania last week, I think, involving Robert Easter and Erickson Lubin. Isn't that your neck of the woods?
I've been to there to that. I assume it was it in the Santander Arena?
I think was it in the Armory or something? I don't know.
I've been to it twice before. Saw some decent shows there. Saw Robert Easter versus Comey there, which was quite a good fight. Did not go this time, but I hope Eric Spring was present.
Eric Spring's getting a call out by Lee the Alcoholic Fotch in the chat, actually. Shout out as well to Big Russ. He says he's asked me to mention his Richard Towers interview. This could be an interesting one going up on Monday. Explosive stuff for the fans. Richard Towers interview over on Porky's Corner. Also something about the Austrian Alps. I think it's to do with Vladimir. Oh, this is when Richard Towers was out there sparring. Towers was on the Tris Dixon podcast as well, so that could be interesting listening. Porky Russ has texted me about that. Go and give it a listen. Right, let's get on with some questions. Marty G's asked a question. We could do a Kurt for this, but he's quit. He's quit like Kel, so we're not having it. He won't come on anymore. About wrestling, this WWF nonsense. What does the panel think of Tyson Fury? Maybe this is up your street, Rob. Fighting Braun Strowman. Am I pronouncing that right? Any idea about this, Rob? Apparently Tyson Fury's in the WWF now.
Yeah, he won his debut fight in the WWE on Friday night, I think it was, in Saudi Arabia, with a one-punch knockout finish. So that's how you know that was staged. But he seems to have got his 6 million and come through unscathed. So good luck to him. Let's get him back in the ring now. I don't want to see any more of this shit. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to my man D2 Head Movement on Insta. He's a listener of the pod. I think he does Halla Walla TV as well, the YouTube guy, so shout out to him.
Shout out to him indeed. Thanks to Marty G for that question over on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. We'll be talking about Inoue's fight with Nonito Donaire on Thursday. Convenient for everybody on the panel, I'm sure. Coming up on Thursday, Andy, Richard Bamber has sent in a question to you, going back to Josh Taylor against Regis Prograis last week. Where to for Regis Prograis after the Taylor fight, Andy? He looks tight at the weight. How would he fare at 147? I know that Lou DiBella is calling for Prograis to fight Lewis Ritson, isn't he? Trying to get in on that St James's Park action with the winner to fight Josh Taylor, who has a mandatory that is due to be announced in December against, is it Kong Sang, a Thai guy who's undefeated? Sorry, Andy, there's about 3 questions in one there for you.
No, sorry. What title is that for again? So that the IB, I don't know who that is.
I would imagine the IBF, because they're quite strict. I think in December they're going to force Josh to fight this Kong Sang. In the meantime, DiBella's talking about Prograis fighting Ritson, which might answer Richard Bamber's question about where Prograis goes next.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know if he's going to kind of like mooch around and still get title shots. I dare say we'll still be highly ranked and stuff, but I mean, they were obviously talking about Broner. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, actually, in all honesty. Broner's talking about, he's not retiring, shock horror, but he's got baby mamas to pay for and stuff like that. But
speaking of Broner, I thought his next opponent was going to be Gervonta Davis.
Well, we'll come to that on Bellew this week because I see Espinosa's got involved in that as well. But but Baby G as well. He's talking some trash, man. Again, I'll leave it for Bellew the week as well. He's coming in here talking about fucking fighting Josh Taylor. That dude won't even have a unification in his own fucking weight division. He's wanting to fight Josh Taylor up at the next weight. Is he fucking? He's like, then I'm going to phone now. Well, fucking phone now. Make the fight, you wee dick. Just a wee fud. But as for Prograis, I think he should really have his. Well, the problem he's going to have is he's not really a big ticket seller, especially like as I say, he's in his hometown and stuff. So the Lewis Ritson fight, get some of that British cash. He's put in some good PR work when he was over in the UK, and that he came in 2-3 weeks before the fight. Never ducked an interview. Was always amenable. He always chatted to everybody and stuff, and spoke to the young folk at the amateur clubs and stuff like that. So, it might come back.
Probably sell more tickets over here than he would over in America.
Possibly. But I think if he's going to fight in America, it needs to be a kind of topish name or a named fighter. So you're talking like maybe a Mikey Garcia, if he's going to hang about at welterweight, or Broner. I don't know who else PBC have got. Maybe Lipinets or something like that. If obviously DiBella would do work with Al Heyman, so maybe Lipinets and. I don't know who else he's got. Garcia, possibly. Because obviously Spence is out the frame at the minute, so which will come to him in Bellew the week again, possibly. But yeah, I mean, there's options for him, I suppose. And DiBella, I would imagine, will get him some decent fights. So maybe Garcia, Lipinets, Broner, Porter, something like that. The Black Jesus. The Black Jesus' legal team, i.e. the PBC, are all over the place now. By the way, they're taking down every video, every tweet they can see and stuff. I'll need to check to see if I've still got that video on YouTube and that of him being in the club. Absolutely miraculous. It was like confusion on Newt. I was that pissed. I mean, I swear to God, he's throwing cash about and stuff, and he's with all his mates on stage and that, all the lights blaring, and he's fucking drooling like fucking.
He's with the rapper.
Not one mate says, "Listen, mate, don't drive the car." So there's buddies for you. Yeah.
He's with the rapper The Baby, who knocked a guy out himself on Instagram in a Gucci store. Fella tried to run up on him with the camera on, and then the next footage is your man slumped on the floor with his nose bleeding, and The Baby is saying, "I wish motherfuckers would stop testing me," or something to this effect. So he's hanging around with the right crew anyway. Expenses.
Well, he's got a problem. Yeah.
Seen him numerous times like that.
He's got a problem. He's got a problem. My next question is, what happened to his jewellery that night? He done fucking human cannonball at the Ferrari, by the way.
Might have saved his life. Hung onto a lamppost.
To me though.
Yeah.
for me, he has got a problem with the drink. Right, there's no question about that. It needs to be a wake-up call for him, by the way.
It goes, well, if that's not a fucking wake-up call for fucking hell, he should take, as you said, he should become born again after that. Like, but like it goes back to what we said before. Like, they all want to be Floyd. Everyone wants to be Floyd. And Floyd was in the club, and Floyd was burning money, and but he wasn't fucking drinking. Right? Floyd never drank. He fucking kept his weight. He walked around at the weight he fought at for most of the time. Right? So, and he was in the gym, and he was getting the best of medical attention. But to get to that level, you have to fucking be hard work and dedication. You can't be in the fucking nightclub with the baby, driving your Ferrari at 150 down the road, full of bottles of champagne. You just can't do it. Like, you know what I mean? So these fellas are all going to come unstuck. You see it with Gervonta as well. Huge promise. Can't keep the fucking weight off between fights. He's like a Cabbage Patch Kid going around the place, and they're all moving together. Him, Broner, the Charlos, Spence, all partying it up and all pissing their fucking careers away because they're getting paid too much money by the PBC. You know what I mean?
He should come back and fight Scott Harrison. That's not gone down well.
That's a bit sick, Smido, to be honest with you. I'm going to delete that. Shocking comment.
That should be a ban for a month. He's hardly ever ban him for a month.
He goes, that didn't go down well.
Let it happen. Let that fight happen, and we can reschedule Nigel Benn, Sakio Bika, because I know the thousands who spent loads of money on tickets were obviously disappointed that the fight's fallen through.
Go on, Ozzy, tell us about that while I do my business then. Nigel Benn, quickly, go on.
Oh, well, conveniently, because the show did about 4 tickets. I mean, what idiot would want to spend £1,000 to go ringside VIP to watch Ben Beaker? If they have, it's either just a way to get rid of laundered cash or something like that, because they've just got literally too much money to burn. But anyway, yeah, the fight's off. It looks like it's not going to be rescheduled. Ben is disappointed that he can't put closure on his career. I think everybody is pleased. I think Gianluca Di Carlo, who is like the chief exec of Bieber, is trying to save the show because there's 10 other fights on there, and he's in talks with other venues and promoters to ensure the show goes ahead. I mean, why the fuck a chief exec of a board is getting involved is bizarre. So it shows just what a farce Bieber actually is. But no, yeah, the fight's off, much to the disappointment of absolutely nobody, aside from Nigel Benn. Did Sakio Bika even know about the fight? I'm not too sure. But yeah, the good thing is that we're not going to be seeing it ever happen.
Good stuff, Ozzy. Delighted to welcome our first guest of the evening on the call. It's Steve Wood. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks very much, Steve. Yeah.
Great stuff. Ozzy there, just an impromptu one for you. Ozzy was talking about this Nigel Benn fight that got cancelled. Do you think it's a good thing, or what do you think about the Nigel Benn comeback?
I think it's a good thing it's been cancelled, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in boxing now which I don't think is right, and certainly fighting again at that age wasn't right, so I'm glad it was cancelled, yeah. Excellent.
We're talking earlier on about Canelo against Kovalev. Did you manage to see anything of it?
I've only seen a few of the highlights today on the iPad. I didn't stay up to watch the fight, but it looked like it was a competitive fight, and eventually he's ground him down for the win.
He's certainly putting his name in the history books anyway, people comparing him to Mayweather, the guy who obviously schooled him, but I mean, 4-weight world champion now. I mean, no matter what you think about the guy, and he has his detractors, obviously there's things going on behind the scenes possibly. He's bringing in the money and he's putting his name in the history books.
He is. You can't fault him, you know. Unfortunately, the Mexican meat thing has soured it a little bit, but he used to take that away from him. It's a fantastic achievement. The problem he's got is everybody's doubted, you know, how he can come through these weights and be so strong and take so many big punches, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doubting it a bit myself. Just closer to home, Steve, Jack Cullen put in a great effort last night against Felix Cash, just wasn't to be in the end.
No. We said beforehand that it was going to be fight of the night, and it was the fight of the night by a country mile, wasn't it? And I think if it wasn't maybe for that early knockdown, would have been victorious, which is a shame, but he'll come again.
Anthony Crolla obviously was the main man of the night. Bit of a strange card, I suppose, having Katie Taylor on as well. It looked like he might have lost the fight, and one of the cards was really wide in Crolla's favour.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Steve Gray's normally pretty bang on, isn't he? But that 98-92 was way off the mark. I mean, obviously you want Anthony to win at home in Manchester, and he probably just deserved to watch it. But I mean, that was all. It could have gone either way. We
were mentioning earlier that it was a shame that him and Terry Flanagan never got it on.
Yeah, perfect time, wasn't it, when they were both world champions? They'd have sold out the ring. It'd have been a great fight. They'd have both made a lot of money. Whoever promoted it would have made a lot of money, and it was madness that never happened.
Just looking back, previous weeks, Scott Fitzgerald got a good win over Ted Cheeseman. Looking back on that one, Steve, what do you make of the evening? Fitzgerald got the job done.
Yeah, do you know what? I had my own show in Ellesmere Port, so I wasn't there, so I watched it back the following day, and I've seen a bit of controversy on the websites and the forums, so I got my pen and paper, and I had a clear winner, and I think for me, the early rounds where people were saying give it to Cheeseman because he was doing something different. He wasn't winning those rounds. I mean, if he wouldn't have been for Scott, there wouldn't have been a fight. He was basically running away. Any shots that he was throwing were landing on Fix's shoulders and gloves on arms. And I had Fix winning the early rounds, which other people were giving there. So, the right man won. As I say, there wouldn't have been a fight if they won for Scott.
Yeah, the Sky commentators came in for a bit of stick. It seemed like they saw Sugar Ray Cheeseman reinventing the wheel there with a new back foot style.
Yeah. Well, if you looked at Scott, the only marks he had on him was a couple of shiners that he took into the ring, yeah.
They're talking about Fitzgerald's next move. Eddie loves a stadium fight. Is Deepdale realistic?
Well, I went with Eddie on Thursday morning to have a meeting with the guys at Preston, and they're very keen for it. There's obviously a little bit of things to be worked out, including who Scott's going to fight, but I think they're looking at end of May, early June next year for that fight, yeah.
So he's got rid of Cheeseman, he's got rid of Anthony Fowler as well. He's on some run now. He's finally starting to... Everybody knew he had the talent, but there was obviously that madman image. He's sort of building up to his potential now, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's a funny guy, and he can fight. So the punters love him, don't they? Because he's always in an entertaining fight, and he's adored in Preston, very similar to how Josh Waddington is in Leeds. I went to a football match with him there a few weeks ago, and it was a bit like taking Josh to the road. Everyone was stopping, wanting the pictures with him, wishing him all the best. And it's amazing that he's already a British champion, and he's getting the adoration of all of Preston already. So, if Eddie plays his cards like that, he's got a bit of a superstar, because you don't just sell tickets, he can fight the same as Josh. A lot of people thought Josh was just a ticket seller.
Yeah, you mentioned Josh. I was just coming into him next, actually. On the Josh Warrington front, Shakur Stevenson got a win over Joet Gonzalez recently, and then he called out Josh.
Yeah. I mean, I actually watched that fight the other night on, I think, I don't know how I found it. It was something called Daily Motion. It had the full fight on, and I watched it, and he's a very capable fighter. I was impressed with him. I thought his foot movement was great. Whether he'd be strong enough and good enough to hold Josh off, hopefully we'll find out in the future, because what we want is unification fights, and if that sticks up and makes sense, I should say stacks up, we can stick it on, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Stevenson looked very good and he boxed very well, but Josh Warrington isn't going to fall into that trap. Joet Gonzalez couldn't execute any kind of a game plan, could he?
No, he was just too good for him, wasn't he? And I think Josh would eventually wear him down. I don't think he'd be just chasing him around the ring and missing him all the time. It'd certainly be a fight, but it's a good fight, and that's what people want, don't they? After last week, the Taylor and Prograve fight and everything. I mean, if it was just for Shakur Stevenson, I think he would say it's the best two featherweights in the world now that Santa Cruz has moved up.
So I don't know how much you can say about it, but Frank Warren's saying he's looking to book up Elland Road. I mean, what's the plan in your eyes?
Well, there's rumours of Elland Road in May for a unification fight, but at the moment there's nobody who we're fighting for the unification, so obviously it needs all sorting out. Me and Josh have got a meeting with Frank this week, and I think we're going to sit down and look at what path is best for everybody, yeah.
So final couple for you, Steve. We do thank you for coming on. Just finally on Josh then, they're always saying about him going over to America and that, but unless the money is absolutely unreal, it's probably best to keep him at home?
Well, I wouldn't have to say but unreal, but you know, he does have to suit him, you know, someone who can put a good gate in at Elland Road and generate money to go away for less money, and I'm presuming you're indicating so where we tried to make the Santa Cruz fight last time, and the money they asked for us to go over there was a sixth of what they wanted to come over here, so he was just a way of saying they didn't want the fight, yeah.
Well, I mean, from when Santa Cruz was negotiating with Frampton, obviously over here in Belfast, I don't think there's any chance of getting Santa Cruz over here whatsoever, to be honest. I don't think so.
We reckon, I don't know how true it is, that he's Al Heyman's favourite boxer, and he looks after him like he's his own son, so it was a shame, but he's moved on now to super featherweight. We're still at featherweight, and we're only interested in unification fights now. He doesn't want anything else.
Closing out the year then, Steve, getting closer to Christmas, what have you got coming up, your shows and fighters?
Well, I've just done 5 in 6 weeks, from like all the way to October, so I'm having November off doing our own shows, and then we've got one at Bolton on the 7th, we've got the Scouts Jolly Boys on the 8th, then we've got another show in Liverpool on the 14th, and then the Bank Jolly Boys on the 15th, and then I'm wrapping up, yeah. Plenty
going on then, no rest for the wicked, eh?
No, the trouble is when you've got that many fighters, you've got to do shows to keep them active.
Ozzy's just throwing in one final question for you. Farrell against Dodd, you manage both, is that a fight on the horizon?
Yes, it's a fun fight, isn't it? I mean, I've always said that when we put the 2 VIP kids together, I only ever do it if it's a fair fight, and they've always proved to be very good, entertaining fighters, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the fight of the night in Liverpool on the 23rd of November.
Lovely stuff, best of luck with those shows, and thanks as always for joining us, Steve.
Yeah, no problem, all the best to everyone.
Thank you, bye-bye now.
Bye.
Steve Wood there, promoter and manager extraordinaire, friend of the pod indeed. Yeah, doing a good job, isn't he, Steve? Gabe Lewis, you're doing a good job as well over in Texas. Will you be there in the Alamodome, San Antonio, next weekend, when James Kirkland makes his return, 8 rounds against Jazz Phipps? Kirkland's coming back, Gabe. Get on it. Come on, Gabe. James Kirkland. You know it makes sense. Gabe's crying like a little bitch over there. Be right back, he says. Sorry, Gabe, didn't see that one. Let us move on swiftly as we possibly can. Hey to Dave Loback. What about California, Fresno, Saturday the 9th of November? Jamel Herring defending his WBO super featherweight title against the unbeaten 19-0-1 Lamont Roach. This is on USA ESPN Plus. Have you got ESPN, Dave? Does everybody get it over there? Are you a subscriber?
Well, not everybody pays cable anymore. I'm one of those. I just use internet, don't pay my cable bill. Just like you UK people, stop paying your TV licenses because you're getting a load of propaganda. But ESPN, you can watch, depending on what's on, you can watch it online as well. Or you can just find a stream. But I'm not going to be interested enough to stream this. Lamont Roach, isn't he the guy who lost to Macklin a while ago?
No, he has a draw on his record, which was against Orlando Cruz. He's never been beaten. Jamel Herring has lost a couple of times to Denis Shafikov and Ladarius Miller, but he won that title against Ito, didn't he? It's quite a nice story for ESPN.
Yeah, I was there when he got beat up by Shafikov. I honestly expected him to have a little bit more to his game, but I'm actually surprised he did end up winning that title against reasonable opposition. Because I thought he was already, when he lost to Shafikov, he was already fairly advanced in age, but he managed to improve a little bit and make some changes to his game. Shafikov's still a good fighter too, so that's That's not a terrible loss. But yeah, I'm not going to watch this. I don't care.
Dave doesn't care. Hopefully you care enough to stick with us for the next half an hour or so. We'll be going over Inoue, Donaire, Bellew of the Weeks as well. Rapping Rob Kelly's still with us for episode 347 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. Smido's gone. Unfortunately, Gabe Lewis is be right back. Dave the Lowback is here. I'm here as well. As you can tell, Andy Patterson, Ozzy Smith are with us shortly. Mixler.com/Boxing Asylum. Is that the one? Patreon.com, blah, blah, blah. Spiel. I've managed to stall for long enough, Andy. Not going to worry you with James Kirkland. Bet this thing over in Los Angeles then. You know what, I was taking my son to swimming this morning, and he's 11 years of age, and I said to him, what do you think about this, what is it, KFC and Logan Paul fight, you know, this celebrity fight that's going on? I said, are you going to be watching it? He goes, yeah, I'll probably try and stream it on the Sunday morning. He said the promoter...
Crash a car and just open the car door and kick him out now.
Do you know what he said, Andy? He said, I saw the promoter being interviewed. Obviously, he's talking about Eddie Hearn. And he thinks that a lot of the young guys who like Logan Paul and KSI are gonna watch the fight and then become big boxing fans. But that's never going to happen. That's what he said to me. So,
well,
I think...
what age is your son?
He's tuned
He's
in.
11.
He's tuned in, that young fella.
Well, he's going to go far, I can tell you that much.
He's smelling bullshit on Eddie's spiel there.
He's going to go far, that lad, I can tell. Would I pull up the card? I think I had Boxrec up there just 2 seconds ago. Give me a second to pull up, because there was only 3 fights listed or something like that on it.
There's a few that haven't been confirmed. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders, Andy, which all the kids are going to be watching apparently, and Ronnie Rios against Hugo Berrio. I don't think I'm even going to be watching that, let alone anybody else.
Mate, listen, I think you could be really hard pushed for me, Rob, Ozzy, or even Smiddle, or even Dave, anybody going to be watching this card. I ain't staying up for this shit. Billy Joe Saunders got no interest in that fight. He's no super middleweight. Now, am I right saying that this fight supposedly is meant to be topping the bill? This Logan, whatever his fucking name is.
Absolutely, yes.
It's a 6-round cruiserweight fight, and it's debuts for both guys, and it's pay-per-view. It's a fucking piss take, man. No interest in it. I've no idea who they are actually. I know like there's some sort of YouTube people for like middle class backgrounds or whatever, and I'm probably embarrassed myself by like even knowing too much about that. But fuck it, man. I ain't watching that shit. I mean, Sky Box Office as well. It fucking, where is it? LA. So that's like another 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning job that they can fucking burrow my bell in for that one. Like,
I'm not watching that. Yeah, must be. I didn't watch the last one. Fuck this. No chance.
Thing is, though, Rob, I mean, if they just turn round, obviously they're never going to do this. I can understand why they're showing it. I can understand why Sky Sports are involved, because they're seeing the pound signs. There's money to be made from this type of event, and I understand that. I can't expect them to say any different, but I mean, they're not. It's not to further boxing. Call it for what it is. You know, you see the money, you see the opportunity. You'll take the pay-per-view. I'm not chastising you for that. Business people will like do that.
Eddie Hearn only got involved. Eddie Hearn only got involved because I think it was his daughter that says to him that, you know, Dad, you need to get involved in all this sort of stuff. And that's, he's like, when he's seen the numbers and that for like that last fight, he was like, how much? Of course, that's when he started getting all perky.
I've done anal
with his wig on him.
His Botox eyes.
Rob, let's give you something else to deal with, shall we? I know you're not too fussed on that. Men's Luxury Fitness threw in a question. We were talking about undisputed champions last week. He said, talking of brothers fighting, because we were talking about a couple of brothers fighting, I can't remember who they were now, would the pod consider Vlad or Vitali as undisputed champions, given that they couldn't fight each other, but they both would have held all 4 belts at those times if possible, i.e. Vlad beat Samuel Peter twice. So Vlad and Vitali had all the belts at the time. Would you consider them sort of joint undisputed champions?
I consider it like this, like James Toney said, they're the bitch ghost sisters for not fighting each other. Go and have a straight or a set list. Fucking see who's the man. How could they fight each other? Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I suppose you can consider both of them. Well, by today's standards, absolutely. Like, with everything's so fragmented, so they both held their version for long enough. Like, let them fucking. They can't fight each other, lads. Like, relax. Like, it's not a film. Like, you can't fucking prize fight your own brother. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But he's saying, given that they couldn't fight each other and the fact that they both had the belts.
Yeah, I know, but as you have to just think. you just have to kind of accept it for what it is. Like, I don't know, whether you consider them not undisputed because they didn't fight each other. I don't know, like, what the fuck. Not to dismiss the guy's question, but that's fucking weird to me, like, that one. But anyway, carry on, Steve.
Would you have battered a sibling, Rob, to get your hands on all those titles? So say your younger sister or something, you know, would you give him a good dig?
I've only one older sister, and I was definitely 3 or 4-0 against her, like, so...
Like Tyan Booth.
I was giving up
3-0 in the streets.
Yeah, I was giving up 13 years on her as well, and a good few pounds, so I was fucking pretty rattled her one Christmas day anyway, definitely something. And definitely me and my cousins used to box the fucking heads off each other, so yeah, shit happens.
Shit happens indeed. Any interest from you, Ozzy? I'm sure there isn't on this YouTube situation before we go over to the big one, Inoue.
Fuck all.
Nothing from Ozzy. Hey to Dave. What's going on stateside? Are you boys enamoured by this? Wasn't Logan Paul that guy who went into the suicide forest or something that time? Was that the same guy?
Yeah, that's, I guess, what he's most known for in the mainstream. He's a YouTuber. Makes viral videos. I don't know if he's a comedian or what. He doesn't seem especially bright. But I will say, I guess he has a decent wrestling career. He's in shape. His wrestling career is like in school anyway, like college and all that, not WWE. And he did show a decent jab last time. I watched it because my brother had it on.
I watched it too.
Yeah, he asked me to get him a stream, so I watched it. I did watch the last fight. But he gassed. Yeah, he gassed it like, I don't know, was it 4 rounds, 6 rounds? It was a short fight. I don't think they wore headgear, though. I mean, I think he gassed and ended up a draw. I think he might have been...
No, I think they did wear headgear, didn't they? I think they did, Dave.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
My son, I did watch it, and I thought KFC won it. I thought your man did
it was KFC. They did. They had headgear on the first one.
Yeah. They're professionals now, Dave.
Who cares, right? Doesn't Logan Paul, from the looks of it, he had a big size advantage.
I don't know. Cruiserweights, aren't they? Or light heavies?
Fucking probably growth and clean, baby. Loads and loads of clean. You know what I'm talking about?
Probably.
Yeah. Let's move on from this garbage. I think we've dedicated enough time to this absolute farce of a...
If one of them dies next week, we can talk about it, or, you know.
Fucking hell.
There you go then, the boys have spoken. Let's move on indeed, shall we? Over onto a fight of slightly greater magnitude, Andy, over in Japan, final of the World Boxing Super Series. Could it be the final? No, we haven't seen the Cruiserweight final yet, but it's drawing to a close. I'd be surprised if the World Boxing Super Series carried on. Would have preferred maybe the recently retired Ryan Burnett in the final. Couldn't happen. Zolani Tete as well has slid off into obscurity. Wouldn't have minded seeing him in a fight. But it's Naoya Inoue against Nonito Donaire. Left hook aside, Donaire could end up being in big trouble in this one, Andy.
Donaire, yeah, I think he could be, mate. No mean to say that he's experienced and that maybe no buy him, you know, some precious seconds of other stuff. But I just think at this point in his career, yeah, he's still campaigning at bantamweight and stuff. I still maintain that he claims that he can make it pretty well. I still think, what is he, in the 36 or something? Got to be feeling that to try and make that weight. Inoue prime, I just think his precision, power, agility, you know, just everything that's brought him to this point is just going to be brought to bear against Donaire. And I didn't mean that in a kind of dismissive way. On Donaire, his career's been great. Gabe will probably fucking come in here and just lay waste to him in a minute here, but I just think it's just an animal, isn't he? He's just clearing up, and you know, he's just getting better each time. Maybe see him get his chin checked. We never know. I did see him against Rodriguez and that when he was fighting in Glasgow, which was an honour to see him. He got clipped a couple of times, and that's when he kind of went like, "Oh, fuck this shit," and went right to work and just iced the guy. So you just don't know if Donaire does the same, and that might just bring the red mist down, and Inoue goes to work and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go Inoue by stoppage. Actually, I don't suppose anybody will be surprised by that, but I'm going to go round. I'm going to go round about the midway point, round 5, 6, or 7, round about there. I just think again, precision, power, and just the fact is he's a younger guy, making the weight far better probably as well. And Donaire he just hasn't. I just don't think he's got the trigger anymore, to be honest with you. He was very lucky, I suppose, to kind of get where he is and that. I mean that, like, say, to the final, like, because obviously what happened with Ryan Burnett, Stephen Young, remind me again and stuff. Was that no? Who was he meant to fight again? Was it Tete?
Tete, and then Stephen Young came in, had a few draws on his record. He had a good go, Young, respect to him, but that finish was just brutal.
Yeah, it was. It was just obviously kind of levels and that as well, and experience probably told and that. But obviously the Tete fight was one we wanted to see. It was a pity about the injury and stuff. But we are where we are, and that I suppose in a way he's probably earned. I think Donaire's, you could probably say he's probably earned to get to this point, another big payday and that. But I still think it's just going to be heavy weather for him in that. As I say again, if he could probably catch Inoue with a good shot in that, but I just don't think he's got the power and delivery anymore. I just don't think he's got it in his legs, and Inoue is just too peak, too prime, and just too good. He's a bad motherfucker when it comes to finishing the opponent as well. So yeah, I just can't see past Inoue at this point.
Inoue for Andy, I'm going the same. I'm saying about 4 or 5 rounds. I think the first couple could be tentative, but once Inoue finds his range, it could start to get really heavy weather for Donaire, and it could be uncomfortable viewing. Ozzy, where do you stand? UK TV, I assumed Sky Sports would be picking this up, but Gerwin in the chat says it's not on the planner.
I've not seen it advertised, and to be honest,
it'll be Thursday morning as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if it's not shown on at all, because I know when Box Nation always had problems in picking up Japanese cards, and that was because of the timings and being able to basically get commentary over the top as well. So they said it basically just wasn't viable, because I mean, realistically, a lot of people are going to be at work when the fight's on. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it doesn't end up on British TV, which is obviously a shame. But I'm with Andy, to be honest. I can't see anything but an Inoue win, and I think he does it quite early in the first 3 rounds. His power is freakish. It would be interesting to see if Donaire could land on him. Just to tick a couple of boxes for Inoue in terms of like that, but I can't see it happening, and I think we could well see another highlight knockout win for Inoue. And like we said, I think we all wanted to see him against Tete or him against Ryan Burnett in the final. Sadly, that didn't work out, and you've probably got naturally what is the best available. But I only see it going one way.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. It's 20-7 in the morning in Japan, so they're 9 hours ahead. So you're looking around dinner time, aren't you? About 12 o'clock or whatever. I suppose it'll be over here. I can see nobody picking it up. We'll manage to get hold of it somehow.
Yeah,
Torrents, baby. Torrents.
Guidos.
I was going to say, just to mention
Torrance Crawford over here.
Tete, Steve. I don't know if you saw, but he's fighting that John Riel Casimiro in Birmingham.
That's on the Birmingham show, isn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So fight that, by the way.
It is a good fight, and it's good to see him back. I mean, obviously, look, he withdrew through injury. We can only assume that's legit. And look, they came out a couple of weeks ago in a press release saying that they want to fight either Ryan Burnett or Inoue at the end of this tournament. Burnett has now obviously retired due to injury. So look, let's see if they can make the fight. Whether that happens, I'm not too sure. I could only see Tete having to go over to Japan for the fight to happen. I mean, it'd be unbelievable if they could bring Inoue over here. I think it'd be great. Imagine you could bring him over to the UK as well. It just adds, to another long list of fighters that you would never think you'd be able to see, coming over here. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, talk's cheap, isn't it? Making the fight happen and actually getting in the ring is another thing.
Yeah, Tete's a strange fighter. I've seen him in action live a couple of times. First time he was blasting out that Siboney's Gonyo, and he was Gonyo in about 8 seconds, and then he went 12 rounds with a midget aging Omar Narvaez, and oh god, that's 12 rounds I'm never going to get back. That was right up with some of the worst fights I've seen live, with Tyson Fury against Kevin Johnson and goodness knows what else. That was a bad one, but Tete can be explosive, and he can be quite boring as well.
It seems years ago when he first really came on the scene to UK fans, when he destroyed Paul Butler. Yeah, and everyone was raving over him then, and Frank signed him up and things like that. And it's been such a stop-start career ever since. And I think when he entered this tournament, people were thinking, right, I think we'll see how good this guy really is. I mean, who did he beat in that? He beat that little Russian guy, didn't he, in the first round?
Oh, yes. What was he called? Yoyov or something? No, Aroyan?
Yeah,
was it Aroyan?
Was it a Wish or something like that? Mikhail, he was one of the Olympian boys.
Mikhail Aloyan.
Aloyan, that's it.
He was quite a decorated amateur, I think, or something like that.
Olympian, I think. Was it Olympian bronze or something? Olympian
I think
gold?
so, yeah. I mean, it was quite fairly close, actually, but I think Zete was like a relatively worthy winner. But then, yeah, and then he pulled out. So just looking at it now, and it's going to be again, it's over 12 months since he had his last fight. So fingers crossed. I mean, he goes out, he beats Casemiro, and then can try and build some momentum, because I think when the guy is in a rhythm and gets going, he's a talent.
Yeah, Lee the Alcoholic Frotch in the chat makes a good point. Tete as well. Before he even came over to fight Butler, he'd already had a bit of a career up to that point. I think he'd lost about 3 times and had all fights at various levels. So he was no spring chicken. He must be getting on in age now. Gabe is
Crying
back
like
with
a
us.
Bitch.
Good to have you, Gabe. Tell us about Inoue against Donaire. I'm wondering what time it'll be over there for you. Goodness knows, it'd probably be about 3 o'clock in the morning, wouldn't it, when that fight's on? World Boxing Super Series final.
Gabe's the biggest Donaire fan on the panel.
Never.
Come on, make a case. Gabe, make a case for Donaire to win, first of all. Come on, what does he have to do?
Crying like a little bitch. For Donaire to win?
Yeah, make a case for Donaire. Come on, you got 30 seconds.
I think what he's going to have to do is show up, be cautious of the power, but he's going to have to move in quick and land the power, because if he gives Inoue time to read him a little bit, it's going to be done and it's going to be over with. Inoue is very intelligent with the way that he moves in. He's very intelligent with his punch selection. And if he gives him too much time to get into a groove, it's going to be done and over with pretty quick. Donaire's best and I presume to be only chance is to get it over with quick, because we've seen Inoue in several fights go quite a bit of rounds, but his power always is there until the very end. I think one fight he had a busted hand during the fight, and that was the only time we haven't seen him really just lay some punches on a guy. So I don't think Donaire lasts if he makes the fight drag out. Donaire has to get to him early, and it's completely plausible, even at this stage in his career, that big left hook can bail him out, even if he's in a downhill position. So again, assuming that if it does go longer than a few rounds, Donaire is still very much a live dog. Now, as Dave said, I'm not a huge Donaire fan. Never have been, never will be.
Ooh.
But I know for sure.
Opening up the trapdoor.
What's that?
You're opening up the trapdoor there, Gabe, letting him out for a bit of air.
Yep, that was it.
He should,
we want to be honest.
Not letting for air. He's just making them put the lotion on their skin.
Fuck you guys.
Make them more white.
Yeah, but I absolutely think that Donaire has to do it early.
I've done anal.
Has to get it done early, says Gabe. Talking about getting it done early, Rob, not leaving things to chance. You're the main man in that department. What about Donaire, Inoue? Is it going to be an early job?
Well, just before I get to that, I did say before, your trapdoor statement reminded me of when Fritzl built the sex dungeon, didn't he? And had the daughter down there or whatever. And then the wife got off scot-free. There's no fucking way that the wife didn't know where he had to leave the house to build the sex dungeon. You're not telling me a wife is not going to ask you where you were, dropping babies on the doorstep. Oh, this is somebody just left this baby here, let's raise it. Yeah, she was in on it. But
I've done anal.
But Inoue and Donaire, look, I think Donaire's in the fight because he has a puncher's chance, but Inoue is not there by accident. He's scary good, and he's got scary power as well for the weight himself. So we might see, like the lad said, if he can take a dig, but I'd expect this to be a destruction job on Donaire, to be honest with you. And I don't like really saying that because he's been a great ambassador. He's been an advocate for a clean sport, leading by example. Yes. He was ring fighter of the year. He started chinny and highlight knockout reel. Got his soul taken a bit by Rigondeaux, but came back. He's done everything the hard way since, and it just seems like an all-round good fella as well. Even wanted to
got smashed up by Darcinian in a rematch.
Even all right, but even complained about the NHS treatment of Ryan Burnett. That's how good of a guy he is. So it's going to be a pity to see him going out. Yeah, he's crying like a little bitch.
He's so mad at Donaire that he's trying to big up a Darcinian knockout loss, a second knockout loss as a win.
He was beating the piss out of him. He was beating the piss.
And then he got knocked out.
He was beating the piss out of him until he got knocked out. I mean, fair play. It was a knockout. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't a great knockout, but he was
winning until he lost. That game.
Washed up, passed it. Shouldn't have been in the goddamn same ring as him, Darcinian.
You're a fucking bum. You're
and
a fucking
I am
asshole.
crying like a little bitch.
I have to dig that one. Go on, Dave.
Was Rob finished?
Rob's finished.
Yeah, man. I think it's a foregone conclusion.
I basically agree. I think Donaire's going to lose in about 4 rounds, maybe. I just hope it's not too brutal, and that it's not like he doesn't absorb that many hard, brutal body headshots, because Inoue can really hit, and Donaire's got heart. He usually takes defeat with some class as well. He's had a really great career, honestly, a really excellent career. At one point, he was on my pound for pound top number 1 list. Good luck to him, but this is Inoue's to win. This isn't the final, though, is it? Or is it?
Yep.
That sucks, though. This could have been so much better if some of these guys hadn't got injured. What happened to Tete?
He got injured.
Yeah. Well, what about that other? Oh yeah, Inoue destroyed Ramirez, didn't he? Okay. I thought that would have been interesting, but no, it already happened. So yeah, what we wanted to see was Tete versus Inoue, because it would be stylistically interesting, but I think we're going to get to see a nasty knockout instead.
There we have it, guys. Unanimously in favour of Inoue, everybody by knockout. This is episode 347 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. Let us move on to the Bellew of the Weeks. Quite a few here. We might be here all night. Andy's got a few, and Robert has a few as well. No doubt the boys will jump in. First one I've got is Counterpunch Boxing, nominated by Magic Gordon 83. Call me crazy, says Counterpunch, but I firmly believe this man stops Usyk, and he's put up a picture of Derek Chisora getting stuck in on David Price, no less. Zulu X has been nominated by Sam at Against the Ropes for putting up a Duck-Machenko picture, the privileged one, with Lomachenko with a little duck head on top of him. He's blatantly ducking Devin Haney. Samuel at Kendall Seasider just patiently waiting for Eddie Hearn to announce the Blackpool versus Preston fight of Brian Rose versus Scott Fitzgerald. Make it happen, Eddie. We all want to see it. Hashtag Blackpool versus Preston. Jay Steele 88 is nominated in for that one. Boxing IQ says to Dave Allen, I want to see you fight Bronze Bomber. Let me see what his power is really about. I think Allen will take Wilder to the deep end. Luke Baker and Matt Russell, who's in the chat tonight, are both nominated in for that one. Toby's also nominated Counterpunch Boxer. Stephen B. Smith has been nominated by Steve, the Bald Bar Steward. Tank knocks you spark out to Josh Taylor, just another typical domestic level UK fighter. James Bernard has nominated O'Hara Davis for having a go at Boris Johnson, talking about Brexit and whatnot. Getting stuck in there. Wants to get into politics, says O'Hara Davis. Yeah, we'll let him get stuck in. I think he deleted that one afterwards. He doesn't want Brexit to happen because he won't be able to suddenly go to Spain. I'm not really liking that one.
As I said, wanker.
Right, who we've got here? Brian King has been nominated. John O'Rourke, Boxing. Mr. Raunch says, man, this is absolute rubbish. People calling Spencer a racist need to get lost. Taking a page out of Tundi Ajayi's book. Instant blockage, if any of this is seen on my timeline. Says Mr. Raunch, who has 493 followers. I'm sure he's rocking the boxing world by blocking people.
No.
That's like people, Dave, who say a retweet is not an endorsement, and they've got like 7 followers. Like they're tipping the news narrative every day.
I'm a real influencer.
Dave Lowe back there, everybody. Brian King has nominated Jamie, talking about Ricky Burns against Tommy Coyle in Hampden Park, this summer. Yeah. He's also nominated William Joyce, Frank Warren, get Liam Williams the Triple G fight. He is there to be beat, and Liam Williams, takes him to school at this stage. All right, William. All right. Yeah, Brian King is nominated. The North End Report. Eddie Hearn has met officials at Deepdale this morning to discuss holding a Scott Fitzgerald fight night at the stadium. Dominic Henry has nominated the Daily Mirror. Boxing legend Johnny Nelson is giving up coffee as it makes his testicles swell to the size of a coconut. Boxing legend, says Dominic. Won't be having that said. Ian has nominated Edward Fowler.
That's the only comment. that ridiculous headline, and the only comment he had is boxing legend.
Does that happen to you, Dave?
Comment as well, eh?
The balls swell like coconuts, Dave, when you get a bit of coffee in you.
Oh, like basketballs. They're already like coconut.
What else have we got here? Let's have a look. Yeah, get him emptied. Rapping Kelly's back on the call. We lost him briefly. He's with us. That's good to know. Ian has nominated Edward Fowler. People see Eddie Hearn as a one-dimensional businessman because very little is released about him. I listened to a podcast and saw the real Eddie. He's not just someone who's in it for the money without his personality, blah, blah, blah. Brian has nominated a boxing scene. Jamel Miller's redemption tour begins as top-rank deal nears. Boxiana wasn't happy about this. Sorry, it's that small, I can't bloody read it. Need new glasses. Why is he redeeming himself? We haven't seen the B sample yet. That ain't Dillian White, says Mike Gajardo. They're getting a bit mixed up there. Scott has nominated... No, it's Smigger's titties, actually. Jamie McDonnell having a bit of a dispute. A former lover of Jamie McDonnell's is blaming him for spending thousands of pounds on cocaine and call girls, but he can't even buy his daughter a pair of socks. Absolute scum. And then he accused him of turning up and smashing a plant pot. It's all getting a bit domestic in the McDonnell household.
And she said as well, he wasted some of it as well.
Oh dear. Andy, this is from you. You've nominated Smigger's suit. Do tell us more.
Did you not see the state of it, man? Didn't even fucking fit him last night. How the fuck's he going to get that
button was going to shoot off.
Jesus, man. Can you imagine walking inside, oh, it's cold, but I can't put my jacket up, you know, you fucking hell.
That top was going to shoot off if it's Andy Lee in the eye.
He's meant to be a millionaire, man. Get a suit that fits you. See the
you like that one, Dave? Hi.
I heard he's making a comeback. I hope so.
I heard that too. Anfield. Yeah. It's happening.
I want to see the greatness at cruiserweight.
Oh no, you're not be at cruiserweight. You'd be up at heavy, I'd say. He's got the beard. He's got a heavyweight beard. Talking heavyweights, Hasim Rahman Jr. has been nominated by Guillermo Quitondo. This is quite a good one. He put up his pound for pound list. Coming in at number 10 for Mr. Rahman Jr., David Benavidez. Number 9 on his pound for pound list, Devon Haney. Number 8, Julian J-Rock Williams. Number 7, Gennady Golovkin. Number 6, Alexander Usyk. Number 5, Gervonta Davis. Number 4, Vasily Lomachenko. Number 3, Terence Crawford. Number 2, Errol Spence Jr. And naturally, number 1 pound for pound, Demetrius Andrade.
Fucking idiot.
Boo boo. Boo boo! That's Mel B's pound for pound list.
Yeah, love you, boo boo.
No, boo boo.
Every time you say about boo boo, Rob, I always remember Ray Falco. Do you remember the guy who booked up to go over to Germany to see the Demetrius Andrade Jack Colque fight? And then they cancelled it and he was going to sue Dan Raphael.
Someone should fucking sue him.
I'm going to call my lawyers, he said.
Why? How did Mel B and Demetrius Andrade hook up to be fucking that she's his fan? Is it like he's coming as Fook and I'm...
She couldn't get over to Rhode Island to see him.
Oh man, fucking what the fuck? Boo Boo Andrade, P for P, TBE.
Well, there you go. Toby Hines, I think it was, came up with a good one. He said that Rahman Senior must have been hit so hard it ricocheted through the generations or something like that. Left a bit of CTE on Rahman Jr. maybe, but there you go. That's his pound for pound list anyway, with Demetrius Andrade at number 1, naturally. Box Hard Podcast have nominated Matt Macklin. Katie Taylor is one of those talents you only see every 20 years or so, says Matt Macklin. Brian King has nominated Nick Peet, saying he couldn't be at the Anthony Crolla fight. Your Hall of Fame in my book, says Nick. Brian Scott has nominated Smigger again, another nomination for Smigger, for saying that Bacoli reminds him of a young Marvin Hagler. We had a couple of questions in from Paco. Sorry, Paco, I forgot all about you. Trading Leather Boxing has also said something about the disgraceful scorecards. What can we do to stop this from happening? We did sort of cover that earlier. Chad Hogan has nominated Peter Innes. You cannot love Katie Taylor. Gonna get a tattoo of her after I get my Mick Conlan tattoo in a few weeks' time. # fighting Irish. If there was a fighter, Rob, that you could get tattooed on your back, who would it be? Would you have Katie across your spine?
Obanov.
You'd have her on your front though, wouldn't you?
Whatever ways you want, baby. Will your man stop saying baby as well? Your man on Twitter, fucking what's his name? Baby, everything's baby. We say baby, right? You haven't got the finesse to pull that off. Don't be trying to say baby like us, right? Baby thing.
What about you, Hater Dave? If you could have a boxer tattooed on you, who would you get?
Bean!
Amir Khan.
And whereabouts on your anatomy?
Kneecap.
T-Mobile was there to help Dave, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, the Packers game on in the background.
Where's Cindy these days, Dave?
If I was going to get a fighter's name anywhere, I'd get one on
Taking
me.
the
Yeah, exactly. And it'd be Dwight Muhammad Cowie.
Swiss ain't get so wrong, was I?
Remind me to tell you the story after the pod.
Rob always drops a story after the pod. Well, I was going to ask the other boys, but we'll move on quickly because Bay of the Week is starting to slide by. Chad Hogan is nominated DAZN and Blair Cobbs for coming into Triple H Music, Ric Flair, Boy Drip, whatever the hell that means, not down with the kids. Chad Hogan has nominated Brian Campbell for having it 30-27 to Canelo after 3 rounds. Jonathan Snowden, Don Trella, we've already gone through that one. Also, Smiggers Titties has thrown in another late one for me here. Nomination for Sergei Kovalev in his post-fight interview, saying nobody wants to fight him and that he's targeting a unification fight next. Was he on the vodka between rounds? I think he got hit that hard, he still thought he was the WBO champion. Any other nominations, boys? Starting with you, Ozzy.
Yep, so I've got one, and I don't know if the guy's trolling or not. Gooner2819, it's at Spocky274 on Twitter, and he said, Kid Galahad put a post up saying, thanks to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn for their backing and winning the purse bid for my IBF final eliminator. In response, yes mate, get Warrington back in the ring and take back what's yours. Can't be doing with him and all his football thug mentality followers. Quicker they are put to bed, the better for the world. It then goes on, people criticising him. I'm Team Matchroom. What other promotional companies are out there? So somebody said, so you don't watch other boxing shows apart from Matchroom? Nope. And if there's not one on, I'll watch the classic fights back. Things like Derry Matthews against Tommy Coyle. So, yeah, so it... Yeah, I couldn't work out if he's not or not. If he is, then yeah, he must be. Otherwise, but these people do exist. Another one that he referenced was Callum Smith against Rocky Fielding was another one he likes watching back. I mean, I swear that was over in about 45 seconds, so.
Fucking idiot. That your two then, Ozzy?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Andy, I know you've got a fair few for us. Jump in.
Rumble fucking still.
Yeah, well, obviously, Baby G calling out Josh Taylor after 135. I'm going to move up to 140 and fight Josh Taylor. Big Taylor just says, Berchelt, I've heard of how you wee minge. And he says, I'm going to fall. I'm going to phone Al. I'm going to phone Uncle Al, Josh Taylor says, well, just put a drink to me, man, sleep it off, or fucking phone Al, I'm going to phone Al. For fuck's sake. Yeah, I thought Floyd was a man in that relationship. No, it's fucking, I'm going to phone Al. Alright, okay.
Judging by his poncho this week, I don't know if he is the man in the relationship.
Yeah. I want to put up your man, Rob LL Cool J, for asking if the Canelo fight was fixed.
Was it fixed?
Seriously.
Along with Austin Trout.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming to him. I want to put up Dana White as well, Steve, for this statement. It was absolutely quality. I fucking hate Oscar De La Hoya. He's a scumbag and a snake. I respect Canelo and I respect all the fighters on that card. Fuck Oscar.
At the top of it off, he said, and he's weird. He said that at the end of it, and he's weird.
He's weird. So Austin Trout, man, that this guy just hasn't taken the Canelo winning at light heavyweight, whatsoever. So he believes it's a fix as well. He's been like that dive bar. So Manny 10 comes in and says, dive? You did the same stanky leg when Canelo clipped you. So he comes back where he says, yeah, you talk as if you can do this. I'll knock you out with a slap. Don't let the internet get you fucked up, right? So he says, he comes back and says, but you're not Canelo, so watch your mouth, ho. So then Boxer fan comes back and says, you're still salty from that fight with Canelo, I see. So Trout goes back again and says, yep, I'm going to take it out on you when I see you. Don't let the internet get you fucked up either, ho. So, he was just fucking human, man.
And a female jumped in and he called her a bitch in Spanish. He said something like "calmate, puta" to her or something like that. So he's bilingual with his insults and threats.
He did, So she's so embarrassing. Trout makes it seem like he has done anything relevant in his career lately. He says, "Quiet, puta." So he's clearly fuming. Can we put up Chavez?
I always thought Trout, Andy, seemed quite level-headed, to be honest with you. Maybe he'd had a few drops of the devil's pish.
Well, I doubt that as well. Maybe he's just been fucked about the ring too much and too many shots and that. He's just got the CTE rage. And I want to put in there Cesar Chavez Jr. for deliberately skipping a VADA drug testing protocol. So you've just fucked yourself. So that'll be 3 failed tests now. So he's failed 2 in the past. That'll be his 3rd for non-compliance. So that'll be him fucking bombed out the sport for about 4 years now, hopefully.
Okay, any more from you, Andrew?
That's me, Stephen.
Excellent. I'm going to throw one in for the WBC off the cuff. This franchise bullshit. They've been attacked by a few interviewers, fair play to them, and they cannot explain it. It's absolute bollocks, this franchise nonsense. I could sort of understand Canelo maybe, give him a pass, but the fact they've done it to Haney, I mean, can you imagine Devin Haney sitting there and all of a sudden the email comes through and the relief, everybody jumps up in the living room, he's a world champion, Michael Buffer rings up and announces that he's a world titleist. Nobody wants to win a fucking world title that way.
No.
Absolute bollocks, man.
That's what I'm going to say, mate. He shouldn't be called the WBC franchise champion. He should be called the WBC FedEx champion. That's how he got his fucking belt.
Well, it's complicated according to Mauricio, isn't it? Complicated.
I am confused. Fuck's sake. Absolutely.
To be honest, it's been top rank. I've made this move, I think, and Lomachenko's went along with it, I would think. So yeah, it is what it is. It's just politics. He's no ducking the fight. We'll just get that straight right away.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
There's a lot of clamour now that people are saying that Lomachenko is somehow ducking Haney is absolutely preposterous. Like, what the fuck is he going to duck Devin Haney for? Like, he's not even ready for a world title. They just gave him one. Like, but I had one. I don't know if you covered this when I jumped off that time. Did you see this rumor going around that Broner and Gervonta got into a fight outside the dressing room last night?
Aye.
I don't know. It was. I think it was rebuked, wasn't it? But it was funny because it was allegedly Adrian Broner hit Gervonta Davis really hard and then knocked out Gervonta Davis' PR team, and it made me wonder, like, what's worse, like getting knocked out by Adrian Broner or being part of Gervonta Davis's PR team, because he's not exactly Mr. Talkative, is he? Imagine like trying to prep him for an interview, like, Gervonta, how do you think this fight is going to play out? I think I'm going to win. Yeah, okay, all right, man. Fucking burn the ears off you here, Gervonta. So I don't know.
I think it's bullshit, Rob, man. There's no way Broner throws that many punches within that short space of time, man. That's broke his CompuBox records.
Exactly. I'd favour Davis in that one as well. He's probably heavier than him at the moment. So,
fuck's sake. Nomination for those two clones. Hasim Rahman Jr. is a good front runner for me so far. Plus Johnny Nelson and his coconut balls. Hey to Dave, any nominations from you? Hater.
Sorry, was that for asking me for nominations? I was yelling at somebody.
Absolutely, Dave
Right.
Roback. You or Cindy can throw one in.
Probably Aaron Rodgers he was shouting at.
Yeah, well, he's not performing right now. It's pissing me off.
He's no Tom Brady, that's why.
Hey, Brady himself said that Aaron Rodgers was more talented, and if he had Bill Belichick, all right, whatever.
Count the jewellery, Dave. Count the jewellery and get back to me, baby.
I heard that Rob already threw in a follow-up. Gervonta getting smashed about by his ex-boyfriend Adrian.
Yep.
Sounds well deserved, honestly, after the week he's had, calling out Josh Taylor and saying he's going to knock him out when he's moving up to 147. I would love to see that. That would be more glorious than O'Hara, than when he smacked down O'Hara. Taylor would toy that bitch. He's got to be like 2 feet taller than him. So yeah, I would love to see that fight, but I don't think we will anytime soon. I had only one. I don't know exactly who to put this under. Oscar, Golden Boy, Canelo, and Kovalev both. Just boxing in general for that sham last night. Completely being the UFC's bitch in the most visible possible way.
So, Dave, in answer to Paco's question about does last night's fight delay due to a UFC event show the sorry state of the sport, in other words, you would say yes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oscar's been on
and
the
also
this week.
props to Dippo Washo. I wanted to give him a shout out earlier, but I forgot. I agree with his rant on Canelo, and thanks for coming up with it because I couldn't be bothered.
Dippo knows the sport, man. Fair play to him. Good lad, he's Dippo. Gabe Lewis, who are you going for this week? In fact, throw in your nominations first. Sorry, we're still on nominations, Gabe. Anybody caught your eye, Gabe? Belly of the week. So 347.
I'm going to vote for the people who booed Donald Trump when he showed up at the event. What were they thinking? He's my president. Thank you.
Gabe sending a message in now.
Cry like a little bitch.
Right, Rob, have we got your nominations? I'm starting to lose the will to live here.
Yeah, I got the today and AB. That's about it for this week. Apart from Harlan trying to claim Katie Taylor. Oh, I know she's Irish, but we claim her as well. Shut up, asshole! You can't claim her, right? Fucking asshole! You have enough fighters with your turtleneck. So yeah, but I think Hader Dave is on the money with that. What the fuck were they thinking? Like, it's not like Masvidal, Diaz are like global superstars or whatever. Like, I think it's DAZN is making the sport suffer more than anything with that stream. But regardless, that's a big. I mean, you can't do that. Like, fucking hell, have to fight two world-class fighters waiting in the dressing room because some other fellas are having a fight in a different sport on a different coast. Insane.
Insane nomination for DAZN. Keep your hands off Katie as well, says rapping Rob Kelly. Gabe's not with us at the moment. I'm going for Hasim Rahman Jr. The exact quote from Toby Hines was, I think the right hand from Lennox in the rematch knocked the sense out of two generations. So that's Rahman Jr. for me. Gabe, final chance to you. Are you there, Gabe?
Crying like a little bitch.
Gabe is not.
Nominations.
Go on, Gabe.
I think I heard you guys mention Austin Trout lighting up hoes and bitches and putas and all kinds of other such nonsense. So having not seen a whole lot myself and not hearing much of y'all's, I'm gonna go with Austin Trout.
Austin Trout from Gabe. One for Austin, one for DAZN, one for Hasim Rahman Jr. Andy, who are you going for?
Trout. Meltdown.
Two for Austin Trout. Absolute meltdown. Dave, what about you? Who are you going for, Dave? Sorry to disturb you, Dave. Are you there? Forget about Dave. Ozzy, what about you?
Yelling about the Packers again. Sorry,
Go on.
I'm going for just like Rob's going to give it to DAZN, like for the state of boxing. I'm going to agree with that. DAZN.
Two for DAZN, two for Austin Trout. The final one is to you, Ozzy. Are you going to give us a winner, a decider? Go ahead.
Well, I'm throwing in a bit of a curveball, and I'm going for the Pillock. It wouldn't be a pod without me involving David Allen, and the Pillock who said that Allen could take Deontay Wilder to deep waters and a dodgy position and take his power. I genuinely think people want to see him hurt because it'd be a fucking massacre. That. So yeah, I'm nominating that Pillock.
That is boxing IQ. Ironically enough, boxing IQ nominated.
Far fucking from it.
Having all the brain cells knocked out of him. Austin Trout, DAZN, you are the joint Belly of the Week winners this week for episode 347. Congratulations. Thank you to everybody who's been on tonight. Paco, we'll ask you a question next week. I'll hold that one over. We'll be talking Inoue, whatever the fights are the following week. Off the top of my head, couldn't tell you. Thanks to Rapping Rob Kelly, Gabe Lewis for coming on, Dave the Hater Lowback, Andy Patterson, Ozzy Smith, Adam Smith as well. Thanks for Steve Wood and all you guys in the chat, Jason, MB, Lee, all the guys. We'll see you all again, same time, same place. Next week, I've been Steve Wellings. Bye.